Hello, welcome. I figured out I was muted just now. Oh, and I realized I'm hearing myself back from my own stream. Welcome, gentle friends, to Canada's Casual Competition number 64. We're doing a new setup today, so that's why things look a little bit different, and also why I'm making millions of mistakes at the same time. But don't worry, everything is fine. For anyone who's coming to us for the first time, just a quick reminder as to what a casual competition is. As you can see on the right-hand side, it's a 3-round competition in which our players will be playing it for in a Swiss style. So if you do well in your first game, you're playing against other people who do well, and vice versa. So hopefully you end up by the last game in particular having a very good one. The casual aspects of the competition is that most of the prizes are given out randomly. So we've got our first and second place prize, but we have the same prize for 2 random players. We've also got prizes for whoever provides the best clip from the stream, and last of all, for one of our streamers. So of course we can't do this tournament without the help of our streamers. We thank them very much, and we reward them with some RP, or at least a chance at some RP. Now, I am not here by myself today. I have some very special guests. So, first of all, uh, and this is written by themselves, just to be clear. He is funny, he is charming, he's very good looking, and an absolute Giga Chad from the Dark region. Dan, accompanied by his friend Grogu, welcome to the stream.
Hello, and thank you for having me here again.
And to my right in just a second, he is, by a self-description, a washed-up TFT player who sometimes hits minor competitive achievements like reaching rank 1 on EU West or playing in the EMEA finals. He recently started casting the alternative lobbies for Rising Legends events and enjoys streaming bad music. It's Loescher or Loescher Dinger. Loescher, how you doing, huh?
Doing great. Really glad to be here today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Saying goodbye to 9.5 with a blast. So looking forward to that. Also, I really like the tension you built with like the slow reveals, but then you just spoil everything in your Twitch title. So
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? I should probably change that in the future. It's a good point out. But as you mentioned, though, Lasha, we are going to drag ourselves away from the PBE for one last time in set 9.5. We are on 13.22, which surprisingly is actually a patch with some attempt at, I don't know if it's an attempt at balancing, but certainly some changes. So, Zan, what changes should we be looking forward to most today?
So obviously, because everything is buffed, I'm a big fan of the whole concept. Let's not balance anything. Let's just make everything broken, and then the players are gonna figure out what counters each other, or which brokenness is brokener than the other broken thing. I guess I can say it like that. And I'm pretty glad that they're still trying to make Darius and Oriana work, but I am really excited about AD Soraka. So that's my pitch of today. Like, please play Soraka.
I didn't bring my banana, but Lushdinger, how about you?
well, unfortunately, I don't have any bananas either. So Soraka is not what I'm looking forward to. After the, I think, 50 billionth 99.7th buff to Oriana this set, I'm very excited to see whether or not this will finally work. And also with Zorn being buffed, because this was already quite a good composition in very specific situations for the last patch, and with everything else untouched of the broken stuff. I'm very curious to see whether or not this is like more consistent in how it can be approached, and if people will actually try to aim for it, more specifically.
Of course. Deadly Ghost, thank you very much for the sub. We'll be getting things started here today. As I said, it does feel strange to be even thinking about 9.5 again, because we kind of have moved past it. But yeah, personally speaking, I'm hoping we get to see some people going more into bilge water, because of course, we know the big thing for 9.5 has always been the emblems and how completely dominant they've been. So perhaps there's another way through. So I quick look through, see if there's anything else to do. Also, I wanted to pitch you guys. If you go all the way to the bottom of the patch notes, they have buffed, I believe, pretty much every rise that is in the set at this point. Do you think we'll see our players pushing more towards the late game because of that?
So Rise was kind of underwhelming throughout the whole set. He was imagined as a unit that you can just splash into every composition and make use out of, but it didn't really work out. So maybe today, just having him as a splash unit, and maybe it's gonna be worth just leveling up to add one Rise to add some other form of utility to your comp. I don't think it's gonna be so impactful, but could happen.
Yeah. I think the big issue with Rise is that usually 9.5 was very focused on verticals. We've seen that at the beginning with the Bilgewater patch and all the way through to now the Demacia patches we've had. And in these compositions, you really don't have a lot of flex spots on your board because usually you will have your vertical units that you need to run. And then you will add one or two carry units with the emblems in an optimal scenario. And that means Rise just doesn't fit into a lot of boards. When he does have the trades where he does fit naturally, he is quite strong. You can see that on boards like Invoker Karma or Invoker Nico. He does do some work there, and then there are some situational compositions where he also fits in well. But since the focus on the trades is so important, and he does only have one trade, which is Invoker, it becomes kind of hard to fit him, and then also kind of hard to justify him over some of the more flexible and then stronger carry options in legendaries like Heimerdinger, Aatrox, and Cassandra.
So as we get close to our first game, I believe we are getting those started. So apologies, we might have a slight delay. Today, everything on the admin side and the production side being run by Wernils, who's doing an amazing job, but it's taking on a lot of work at the same time. So we might have a slight delay there. I did see in the chat, to go back to what you're saying about the AD Soraka, a suggestion for how to build out the AD Soraka in this game. I just kind of want to see your perspective because Deadly Ghost is saying Rageblade Shojin is the way that he would go with it. But if we want to see, full banana power today, what would be your recipe for destruction?
So I'm down for a full AD build with just one Rage Blade. So I want to see Hextech just for the healing, for some extra healing while she's doing damage. And Rage Blade. I'm not a big fan of Shojin, even though Shojin did get buffs in the previous patch, like not the one that it's now. But I would like to see like a pure damage item like a Death Blade, just to make the bananas hurt more.
So for me, I think a Nashor's Tooth is really interesting because you want to go for an 80 build and you do have the Invoker trait with you. So you should be casting quite a lot. And that means you will get more attack speed, so more auto attacks after each cast, thanks to that. And then Nashor's means, more really deadly auto attacks because obviously you will have this Death Blade on your Soraka, obviously. And then maybe also a Hurricane or Rage Blade to accelerate that even further. Either like the Hurricane to abuse your very high 80, or then the Rage Blade to abuse the sticking attack speed from the Nashors. And I could see that working out. Should be fine for the 7th playth of your Hyro. So yeah.
All right, let me pitch something to you guys.
Worth it.
How about instead of all of those very well considered ideas, how about we just load her up with attack damage and say HP, stick her on the front line, and go for the Omega Banana route of just casting, using the opposing team as a mana generation item.
Yeah, I mean that just bumps us up to top 6, I think. Like,
all right, I like it. We need to build on our strategy until eventually we hit top 1.
I'm not quite sure. Is she tanky enough? Then we should. I think we should commit to either the tank Soraka in the front line or the AD Soraka in the back line. Otherwise, we're trying to do too many things at once, and I'm not quite sure if she's a strong, independent unicorn, but I don't know if she can handle all that by herself. So
all right, we've received word that one of our players, Tomlin, is up to some shenanigans. So while we wait for this first lobby to get set up, we'll check out his playing on the stream. So again, as you mentioned before, we're only able to offer this tournament because of our streamers. So please to go check out anyone you see playing here today. It's because they're actively streaming. If they weren't, we wouldn't be able to show them at all. So if you see anyone you like, I like their play, or I like the way which they drop bubbles on top of each other, you can absolutely go and check them out. Actually, while we wait for the first game to get set up, For each of you, do you have anything which you'd like to let the good folks know about your own personal stream?
Well, Zion?
I mean, I am not streaming really regularly, but occasionally, and it's mostly TFT and some other Riot games. I like the auto battler genre. I was very invested in the previous iterations of the auto chess versions, and I was really good in them. I don't play them very often, but that's why, because just TFT proved to be the dominant game in the scene,
Hmm.
and I'm not gonna uh, I'm not gonna include the other games, but backpack battles seems fun currently, so sometimes that also.
Okay, cool. Loescher, how about you?
Well, so I'm mostly sticking with TFT because I don't think, well, too much diversity is too good in that sense. Can also be a bit of a problem. But so far, set 10 on the PBE has been, I think, the most fun I've had with a release of a set or like a PBE release since set 6 at least. Maybe become even greater, depends on the next few days. Or Big Melon here. Holy shit, what a play. And so if it stays like that and I do keep enjoying it, I think people can expect me to stream a bit more with a bit more focus on actual good gameplay this time around rather than just memeing good gameplay. So,
gosh, that's quite a promise. All right,
well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see, right?
I could add something to it, but I don't know if I'm gonna get much hate about it. But while I'm playing the new set, I'm one of the people that mutes the music to focus actually on the
it does make
gameplay.
sense. Like, with music being the theme of the set, we're going to be playing a lot of it, and I can't imagine that you necessarily want to listen to the same tracks over and over again. But that's fair enough. I do want to drag us back to the tournament because so this apparently we're going to be starting a lobby in 2 minutes time. So I've seen a few people, particularly I noticed Rambo saying they don't know what they're doing. What advice would you give to our newer players coming today? Because obviously, this tournament being a casual competition is more aimed towards players on the newer side. Of course, anybody can play. But if you are a new player, say watching, or a new player who's maybe playing for the first time, starting with you, Zion, what advice would you give them to get the most out of this competition?
Mostly have a lot of fun with it. Try something new. Because the prizes are random. There is no pressure on you on performing. We just want to see a fun way to play TFT, and as long as you can accomplish that, everybody's going to be satisfied.
Nice. How about you, Loescher?
Well, for me, it depends on what you're trying to do with this. I do like that to have fun, right? So if you think this is fun or like fun competing in TFT, maybe this is your time to try out whether or not your own play style works in a competitive or pretty competitive environment, I would say, because we see the for fun portal mechanic here flashing up on the left side. And we, if you don't like the fun pods, we also have House Light Shield, one of the best regions the set had to offer. And then also, if you like more of the, I just try to play the meta stuff, I want to see what's the best. This is also a great way to learn and try to get better in these try-hard scenarios. So just look see what you're looking for yourself and then try to apply that here and, have fun while doing it.
All right, so it will be VIP Lounge, as being illustrated very helpfully for us there. We'll have the Trader Fin showing up, but we'll also get a selection of items, the kind of the Dragon Armory from sets past at the very tail end of here. So as we get into this one, Loescher, what should we expect?
Well, before we start then, one thing I want to drop, which was unknown for most of the set, is that the Trader Fin is actually Fin Tao, the creator of the Deer List.
Really?
So yeah, it actually is. You can see it, like they look pretty similar. Maybe we can catch them later here in the game. So it is incredibly important to be nice to Fin and then really support him and ask him for good items. So if you behave, he will give you good items, and that's like the pivotal thing we'll have to watch out for this game here.
All right, Simon. Well, what's so of course, we've got to make sure we pay tribute to Finn. But yeah, looking into the early game here, what are you hoping to see from our players here? Because we've only got 3 rounds of play, so every result will make a big difference to their overall performance.
Yeah, first or eighth playstyle is very welcomed, and trying to play a first or eighth playstyle means that you should actually go for like the high risk augments. So in situations where you want to change your board extremely with like a risky augment that you don't know if it's gonna pay off, like Pandora's Bench that I can see on Squamples, that should not be rerolled like he did.
I mean, if you want high risk, I presume branching out is relatively high risk because you don't know what you're going to end up with. Scompy, I think we may have actually ended up with the branching out, but Loescher, are you of a mind with Zahn? Do you want to see our players going full ham in the first game?
Well, the thing is, you always need to watch your environment as well. So if a lot of people are flipping it, you might just go for a pretty safe top 2, top 3, and that's already also pretty good. And then we do see players leaning towards the branching out, which I would consider is quite gambly in the approach. I like the Ishtal from Squampy there that he got out of it because that got buffed, so maybe we can see something juicy with that. But also Ionia for one of the other players. That should be good options, and you can see here TFTs for Nerds decides to go with the boring option, just gambles the support item. But that should also be quite strong. So in the end, people pick strong options, and that should grant them strong late game boards. And I think that's always correct, right?
I think a player does bring up a important point here, which I really want to get insight on both of you from. TFT, is it for nerds? Or I need to have a definitive answer before we get any further today. Zahn, your stance.
I mean, did you even see us at the caster desk? Like, yes.
What are you trying to say?
And what? Me? Not like we can also take off our glasses, but yeah.
We just can't see anything.
Obviously.
A compelling argument. All right, Loescher, how about you?
Oh, I think yes, but to be kind of keep it a bit more realistic in the answer, the game tends to lean towards analysts and like stats nerds. So by necessity, you kind of need to be a bit nerdy for those specific things where you try to optimize specific builds, specific specific strategies. So I do think it leans towards being a bit more of a nerdy game, especially if you try to compete on a higher level. But you can go with a fun approach as well, right? So let's say your average Joe that just enjoys forcing, I don't know, whatever the most wanky composition there is right now in Silver is probably not so much of a nerd. But all of us, we are probably huge nerds. So.
Well, there we go. The nerd meter has been unveiled. So if we're looking through, I think we have seen a couple of interesting choices here. So Exil's picking up the Challenger emblem. I know the Challengers did get relatively substantially buffed. Didn't do so well up at the Championship, but do you think it's got the capacity to do well here in this competition?
It should be fine, actually, if you hit approximately your board around 3-2 and you have all the Challenger units prepared already. The second you hit Fiora and Fiora items, you should actually be fine. Problem is that because of many Demacia players, usually you have a hard time finding that Fiora.
Like, shouldn't you hate it though here, Zion? Because Challenger is like the definition of a top 4 get me out composition. So you're saying we go first or eighth.
So I don't know how you're playing Challengers, but when I play Challengers, I'm trying to hit a Fiora 3 or a Kaisa 3.
Oh.
So for me, because Kaisa is usually not contested and is a very nice late game option. One of the stronger forecasts on 3-star, in my opinion, because the spell is still AoE and you can just take out a random carry while she casts. And that's the definition of first or eighth for me.
Okay, I like it. It certainly
Sounds
seems
more
quite a
like
big
a first
challenge.
or sixth to me, but I'll accept it.
Also, Barry Bannon, welcome to the stream. Of course, the brains of the Rising Legends broadcast is, of course, more than welcome in these halls. We haven't talked about Tommen yet with the Ionian Spatula, of course, one of the potential vertical 9 compositions in the field. Are you guys high on Ionia right now, or do you hold it in disdain?
Oh, I like it. I think it has a lot of gaps, similar to Challenger actually, where the Spatula allows you for quite some interesting caps that can act as a win condition. Like Aatrox, for example, would be the best holder for probably both of these emblems. So I do have high hopes here if the streak will hold for Tommen.
So Ash reroll is the most obvious choice, but it's already to 6. We didn't still hit a Ash 2 for him, so probably less likely and more likely that he's gonna switch into an Ionia Nila. On the other hand, depends on how contested you are in the lobby. Most of the units get multiple usage around in any other board. Like Set is a really nice just frontline unit in the mid game that many boards can use, as well as the Warwick. And transitioning into late game from Ionia, like you lose a lot of value in the mid game until you hit your whole board, and until you hit Shan 2, which is the only viable frontliner for you.
Okay. So taking stock of where Tommen is in the lobby, then we can see, along with Always Blame Jungler, they're both win streaking. Tommen will hold onto his win streak, and I believe Always Blame will as well. So that's going to be a lobby with 2 very dominant players, and we've got 2 players at the bottom, including ZionChe here, who are on pretty low HP. How do you guys feel about this in a lobby where we know we're going to get the Finn coming in? We know we're going to get the, ultimately a lot of extra itemization dropped into this game.
So the first thing about lose streaking when you get a lot of extra resources in that, for that matter, is your resources are kind of worth a bit less. However, him managing to do the full streak here with like a lot of gold on 65 HP is still totally fine in this spot. The setup looks very good for Nico. Soraka has been buffed. We talked about that. He already has the Nashor's Tooth. So right now, he might still go for the 80 build, especially now with the Hurricane dropped as well. So the spot should be quite salvageable. Looks pretty good. I would say that's a pretty decent opener. Drops of units are good. Finfin will provide very good augments, items actually here for the Nico or the Soraka, because you take the Orn artifacts and the Radium items. So yeah, quite excited for this.
I can't even really figure out what he's transitioning into. I guess he wants to go Demacia from this spot out, even though he is saving all of the components for Nico for now. But I guess he's just playing strongest board. And the items, yeah, for Soraka, what we mentioned, the Nashor Suit and Hurricane, but not an actual frontline item that he can use on the Nico. He's late on the Titans, he's late on the Bloodthirsters. He has the components, but he's gonna be without items until 3-6 for sure.
Break the streak, or break the lost streak there for ZionChe as we come into our second augment. It will be silver again. So bear in mind, I believe all of our POV players have taken branching out as their first option. Hopefully looking to add something else onto there that's significant.
That
I don't want to bring up Squampy's board here because we haven't talked about it at length as of yet. The newly buffed Silco joined the board here. So this is ice. So we mean we've got a couple of frontliners who will be getting a second lease at life to hopefully keep that keep the Silco up for a long time.
Yeah, that looks very interesting. So double ice. Usually you would want to play another bruisery like champion with that. However, this set makes it really hard to fit that when you have the Nico in. Maybe with the rogues it would be really good. However, the direction here is very much focused towards this Bastion Silco line. And maybe with the ice front line, double ice later here on level 7 then probably. This is strong enough to hold out. I'm very interested to see how this new patch plays out in this scenario.
And Milio is actually like a unit that you like the traits that he's providing you. You like the stun that he has, but he's never like a worth acquisition in your. You don't usually notice him in your gameplay. So he's one of the units that he might just forget about and just play one ice instead of three.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think even with getting some buffs in, Milo has definitely been a very secondary player. But as we check back in with Yerka, you guys noted from before, the item slams have been very infrequent. Yerka did break the loss streak from before, but has now not managed to maintain a win streak either. Money is not looking good for Yerka right now. Do you guys think we're going to be seeing some slams in the future to keep Yerka from spiraling out?
Well, it's a bit hard right now because he didn't hit any of the tier 4 units, like only one Jarvan. That's most likely not enough. No Mordekaiser. Gold is mostly gun. He's down to 20 now. So this doesn't look unbeatable. And then his items as well. No Demacia emblem means his Mordekaiser will be pretty weak. Only one RC is not that optimal. So we'll really have to wait and see and wait for items to say whether or not this is actually that strong.
But Jarvan is carrying him for now.
Hmm.
Like he survived through all of that, and Quinn is just able to take out the backline with one item. Quinn 2 being huge actually in this stage of the game.
I have to assume longer term we're maybe looking at the Slayer variation. We do see a Mordekaiser on the field there. We know incredibly popular TFT for the nerds, along with Yerka and Jetta Sucks. We got 3 players on low HP, but it is TFT who grabs that very important Mordekaiser.
And it was actually so bad for Jerker that he won these fights, because that meant this Mordekaiser, which would have been a QSS on him, just got denied. And that would have been so huge for him. And that's a really, really, really big hit, because he's now, again, sitting on the items for a bit longer as Finfin finally comes in and provides some normal items. Yeah, you can see if you add an eye patch to Finfin, they're basically the same.
Gosh, I'll have to see if we can find a picture of Finfin, or maybe we can send a picture of Finfin. We can bring it up during one of the ones, just to see if the comparison, if we can get side by side there. But checking back in with Tommen. So always blame jungler was win streaking along with Tommen from before, but Tommen has been the only one to maintain the win streak. The red buff being added to that Ionia emblem, it's working pretty damned well, and it looks like everything's being slammed here to keep Tommen's win streak going.
He can still remove the item from the Jhin, and also he can also just reforge the item. Full frontline itemization for him is as well finished, and I guess this means that he might just now stay on level 6 and keep rolling, which I wouldn't actually recommend. I would actually like to see him level up here to 7 after stage 4, and through stage 4 just look for a stronger late game board instead of the reroll Ash that we're used to.
That's an interesting choice of item slams here for sure, as we see a Shurima board also in the making.
Ooh.
I quite like that. Another Demacia board. Jerker now, he pivoted towards the Azir in the Demacia setup, slammed the Nash's Tooth, because he really needs to slam an item that's already looking quite like a Mordekaiser placeholder. So again, lots of boards in the making here, lots of gold being spent, so you can see the tempo be quite high. That also means our caps probably won't be as high, which is logical with the double silver. And now Tommen, still holding onto that streak, must feel really good, because with that much HP and already that much gold and that much units hit naturally, he's in a prime position to win this game.
So what do you guys think about Shreem at the moment? Just got a little note being passed that our producer Van Needles is a big fan himself, but is it, where does it kind of rank amongst the Demacia Challenger, the other things, and Ionia, the things we've been seeing in this lobby?
So I've been seeing 9 Shurima, or the vertical one. If you get it to 9, it's really hard to get it because you have to save a lot of HP. But once you hit it, I feel like it's actually stronger than the Demacia vertical. And probably out of the 3 big ones, Demacia, Noxus, and Shurima, I feel like Shurima can take both of them down, since Nasus is just a natural carry of other strong units. Like he steals the stats and he gets more stats for himself. So I think we've seen it also on the world stage in one of the games where all of them hit like 3-star units, and it took I think Voltaire was playing it. It took him like 2 4-cost 3-stars to beat this one Nessus that was on the enemy board. And just because of that, the sheer amount of health and attack speed that the whole Shuriman board gets, I feel like it's the strongest of the big three, so to say.
Well, I would say the cap can be very, very high, but to hit that cap, you need quite a lot of resources. And if you just have the emblems, because just getting the emblems in itself usually requires some amount of commitment of resources, then you're more consistent in a win out with all the other compositions. However, if you do manage to hit all the legendary 2-star with all your like infinite Shurima emblems, then you might as well win out. But however, that cap is very hard to reach. So maybe we can see it here. However, as this now with gold augments, no prismatics, I'm pretty sure we won't be seeing that this time around.
Yes, we could have had the chance for spatulas across the field to really bring these comps together. So let's add that wrinkle to the mix then. You know, because of course, we know a lot of our competitions cap out with the double emblems. If that's not possible in this game, does that at all change the composition of the game overall for you guys?
Yes, because you do play around other caps. So you know your enemies won't be that unbeatable. And if you're not committed to that kind of line, like for example, if you're in Demacia right now, you know you have to play around like maybe 5-7 Demacia board. And that capping that out, you can see Jerky here. He has no emblem at all. So he's a bit in a scuffed position now. And facing down this Ionia board, you'll know that, well, now he might still be fine because the Queen 2 is quite strong and the Nyla 1 is not that strong yet. But what are his win conditions late game? It's really hard for him to cap out his board now. And that means like the prospects of this lobbies just got like, well, shifted quite heavily.
So one more cast of the Quinn was missing here, and the lack of frontline on Tom or on Jerky's board is just showing at this point. On the other hand, Nila with the Ionia emblem and double attack speed items is just stacking up so much damage at this point, and I'm really glad for Tommen that he managed to find like a pivot into this line instead of the reroll Ash. And
it's working very well. I mean, and Tommen's also in a great position.
This spot is insane.
Ooh. Well, talking about not a lot of emblems, Jungler here, he found 2 challenger spatulas.
Oh boy! Look
and
at that
you can really see
go.
the. I always say the strong part about challenger spats is not like the trait itself, and also not like the normal challenger units. It's just spatula holders, and you can see the Mordekaiser there just go absolutely bananas. Like just imagine a challenger 80 Soraka. That looks absolutely insane.
Yes, has the power of maybe 1.5 AD Sorakas under his hood. Just want to take stock of where we are in the game, though, because, of course, that last round did go well. For several players, things are looking a little shaky. Our bottom 4 in particular, Exords, Jet, and Yerka, they're all around 20 HP or so, with the next player up, TFT is for Nerds, on a win streak. It seems like we might be headed towards an early elimination.
And I'll just take this time also to hydrate, since your chat requests that from us.
Oh, did they? Oh, well, my bad. In that case. Delicious
Cheers.
water.
Hydration is very important.
Oh, speaking of channel rewards, there is a special reward in place for today, which is if you think, I don't think this stream is German enough, then you can do something about that. For just 5,000 channel points, the stream will become fully German for 1 minute. I don't speak nearly any German, so that will be interesting. I will rely on my co-casters here probably to do most of the work during that 1 minute.
I'll try my best. Speaking my mother tongue.
Who
This is
knows how it could end up?
probably one of the worst ideas we've had till now.
That means it's the best idea by inverse logic. I'm pretty sure that's how things work on the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
just yell "yeah" over and over again.
Talking about bad ideas, though, Jerka just sold his Demacia setup into Squin and fully
Ooh.
committed to the strategist line now. He got the tactical superiority, so the idea is not that far-fetched, actually. However, he did not find any upgrades on his critical units yet, and with him being sitting on 26 HP, it might be a bit early to commit to this pivot, as he might lose some HP here against his board by Exiles that did find quite a lot of upgrades.
The itemization on Azir, and an interesting backup there from Anila as well, who's of course is getting a lot of AP rather than the traditional AD setup as ZionChe takes another loss there. Oh boy, going down to 14. I mean.
Und was jetzt auch wichtig ist, weil wir jetzt in Deutsch quasi hier weitermachen.
No.
I know
It's
German time.
Oh mein Gott. Also wir können natürlich weitercasten, aber wie wird Counterfeit überhaupt hier mithalten?
Es wird schwierig für ihn. Peter, was ist denn deine Meinung zu dem Ganzen hier? Wir haben jetzt quasi einen sehr knappen Fight gesehen. Was heißt knapp? Sehr überwältigend an der Stelle von der gegnerischen Kaiser, die das Board einfach so
Wie viel Gold will er noch rollen? Hast du das gesehen gerade?
Kleiderschrank, Kugelschreiber.
Ja, es ist wirklich so, als ob man dauerhaft auf einen Kugelschreiber draufdrückt mit diesem Reroll-Knopf. Ihr kennt das, ne? Man hat den Kugelschreiber in der Hand und man macht die Mine raus
und so neurotisch, eins nach dem anderen, so dieses Geräusch.
Ja, genau das hat Peter uns jetzt auch gerade hier gesagt, mit seinem guten deutschen Commentary. Und
guten Morgen. Yeah. Alright, I guess that's enough for now. For you. I don't know what's being said there, but I appreciate you incorporating my random German words that I could pull out of my ass at any given point. No, ZionChe's in trouble, though.
The Kugelschreiber was actually quite good, though, because he was rolling the shop like you're like putting out the mine when you press the button on top of the pen. So
let's focus.
Thank you for that input, Peter. It was quite well.
ZionChe's in trouble. Gentlemen, is there a way that ZionChe survives beyond this point?
Oh, well, but like his itemization is just not on the right units. He didn't hit his 2 stars. No Azir, no Jarvan, no Nasus. So yeah, that's kind of a win condition for him. Maybe one more round after this, but after that, it's looking pretty grim for him.
Yeah, like his whole game was basically, he had the issue of being too contested. Like he had this opener where he could have played Nico, but then I believe Swampy it is with the Ishtal emblem, so he would have been contested there. Then he made the roll down to commit for the Demacia. He didn't hit anything besides the one Jarvan, so no Mordekaisers for him, and then he was stuck with this one Azir, decided to commit on that, but was double contested on that as well. So in the end, he hits way too late. Switches a bit too early, but then on the switch, doesn't find anything in the gold where he did put quite a lot of risk on it. And now finally some upgrades, but no items on the front line, and that means that this Nighter 2 will probably annihilate him.
Exiles is on very low HP as well, so it's a question of who goes out with the minimum amount of health. Of course, if you're not familiar with ZionChe, has made summer waves on the international stages and will refuse to lay down in this round. If Exiles died, then ZionChe's avoided going into 8th.
And I think he should actually consider just reforging all the items from the Nila, because she's completely useless.
Yeah. Not necessarily BAS augments. You can see the interaction between the Night Harvester and the RC. A bit iffy. Like, if you jump back, you're not really dropping below 60 HP. So jumping to safety and trying to get low is a bit of an issue. It doesn't really mesh that well. So maybe he could also, because he is likely stuck with these items, position her in the front line, the Nila, and then make her jump back. However, right now we still see ZionChe trying to stay alive against the ghost of the Nico board here, or Silco rather.
Well, we did note that several players are on very, very low HP, so Yucca survived for the previous round. I think having the Gangplank in may have made a bit of a difference here, but the
Ooh.
front line's not quite good enough. Yucca has fought valiantly. It looks like he will be perhaps not our first, but perhaps not our only on-stream elimination.
Yeah, going down in 7th here. And you could really see in that fight the damage output from the AZ1 really not strong enough to be able to get through that nasty, nasty Bastion frontline with the Silco healing on top and the ice buying even more time. So, Jerky, quite an unlucky game for him. His early Rodan was not rewarded in any way. So he'll have to find a better angle in the next game.
We are closing in on the tail end of game number 1. We can see the HP totals are very low indeed. Diane, unfortunately, we don't have a POV for them. Is currently on the win streak with Squampy in 2nd place, but everyone's pretty close together. I know right back at the beginning, Zion, we were talking about the challenges and their upgrades. We did just see the Kaiser 2 dropping in for that board. So maybe we shall follow your prediction and see challenges rise up and take over the lobby.
Well, at this point, might be too late already on 5-5 hitting Kaiser 2, and you optimally want to be able to outscale other boards like this Ionia board. You really need to invest in your late game and try to go for a level 3 carry at some point, or at least go level 9, have some insane additions to your board, and that's just not happening here for Always Playing Jungler.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. He was also heavily contested, so the Fiora is pretty much impossible to hit if there are also some Demacia players in the mix, as well as a other challenger contester. He does have the emblems, does find the legendary, however, goes to level 9 and then doesn't have the resources to upgrade a legendary, and that just means while his tempo was really good coming into this late game, he ran out of gas and now takes the punishment for that.
Tommen looking pretty comfortable with the 2-star upgrade onto the Xayah along with Anila, and of course, as you noted, the interesting itemization to try and make sure that frontline stays intact. We've got the 2-star Shen, which was pointed through from before, so a pretty good frontline to keep away Jet and the very similar Vanquisher board on the other side. Xayah avoiding damage from most of that round means that both the carries are left up, and it should be a comfortable win for Tommen to keep him oriented towards the top 4.
Ooh,
He is in an insanely good spot, honestly.
Yeah. Good early game, and then transitioned that into a very nice level 8 board. Hit all his upgrades. Probably looking to replace the set and move the items to the set. However, we can see that he is still plenty strong here. Utilized the items from Traderfin quite well. All his carries and tanks itemized in a decent way. And now we have to see who can really contest him on this first place, as Gian, he was win streaking quite heavily just until like one fight ago, and the spot is quite cracked. However, he did lose, so there must be someone that's of equal strength, and maybe it's Squampy here, who's also have built quite the interesting Targon Bastion board here with the Ice Ishtal.
So earlier when I said insane spot, sorry for cutting you
No,
off.
please.
But when I said insane spot, I was actually looking at the Bastion board. I didn't even notice the double challenger emblems, because already at 4-3, the Silco was ready, the frontline was ready, Bastions were already happening for Squampy, and now he finished this 4 Targon Dream with 4 Bastion, while Silco is doing all the healing with another emblem here, and like I
want to
just
keep an eye
love
closely on Cassante, just because we saw the itemization change there. We've got the ice in place, we've got the Quicksilver as well. He's basically unstoppable during the round, or at least for most of the round, and he almost takes out the major tank. It's not quite good enough. Zion, what were you going to say?
So I'm actually in love with the style of this board and how many traits he managed to incorporate here, and it just looks like a fun experience playing a game like this. Since you have multiple 4-cost units, you can utilize a 5-cost as well. You're not completely set up on this Nico. You didn't go for the reroll route, positioning is really important for you. So I really like this board. And by the
we've
way,
got
we have 3
4
players on 1 HP.
Yeah, we've got 4 players with a single life. It's absolutely crazy. TFT for Nerds and Scorpion will go face to face. This is the level 9 version of the board. As I mentioned before, this is being built from the ground up. The Morkaiser heavily itemized to be an absolute monster to deal with. It's slowly but surely shooing his way through the front line. There's not enough burst damage from Squampy to get through. So we got the Ascension kicking in as well from the gem. TFT for Nerds takes a big win, but we're going to see at least one more elimination. It's Diane out as well. We have our top 3.
Yeah, and we could really see there with the Bastion board. It was a nice board. It was very strong in the mid game, but then in the late game, where you had the boards that were actually able to deal with the front line, whereas the Xayah was able to do, as this Mordekaiser was able to do. And unfortunately, he goes down. The Silco is not quick enough to finish the job, and that leaves us with a top 3 of an Ionia board, Demacia board, and then we have another Ionia board, I believe. So let's see how this matchup plays out. It should be winnable for all of them. Depends a bit on positioning and fight RNG, but the level 9 board is very much favored right now.
Yeah, Demacia still ruling supreme.
All right, TFT's for Nerds going to show us what exactly they're made of. As to be nice, welcome to the stream again. I hope you're doing well. TFT's for Nerds is showing us, presumably, that he is the nerdiest of the players, as he will survive into top 2. Jet is still alive, though. So with both our players on a single HP coming into our final round, this last item joining the mix might be the thing that swings it.
Ooh. And he takes another spatula. I'm not quite sure which component he has. Oh, he has another spatula on the bench. And he's rerolling legendaries, now being able to fit the Ari. However, well, it's always nice to add one more unit. I'm not quite sure if this really makes that much of a difference. We have the Trader Finfin, so the Bilgewater Rise is not having that much of an impact. Decides to switch for Belweth is also not that impactful. So, interesting decision. Maybe just go with another frontline item here, but the Belweth probably won't be that impactful. However, maybe she'll make the difference. I've been wrong sometimes this games, and I'll be glad to be wrong another time.
All right, one more time round. Jets up against the level 9 tier 2 Nerds. We've got the Tactician's Crown to bring things back to even numbers-wise. But as Loescher said, the item or the units coming in have not been the strongest, though the damage is quite there. The front line evaporates, but TFT pushes it across the line. A convincing first place victory. Son, did you have faith that TFT was truly for Nerds from the beginning?
Oh, I was agreeing with him from the start. The second I saw his name, and him just playing Demacia again just proves his statement again. Because if you're a stat nerd, you know that Demacia is just too OP now. It's been already for 2 patches. I've casted so many games, and when it's not contested so much as it was not in this game, because nobody wants to play it anymore, kind of. So it just has to take a win.
How about for you? What were your takeaways from this first round? Because again, remember, we've only got 2 more rounds to play.
Well, the buffs didn't matter. It's still the broken compositions. So, in the end, Riot did some effort, but maybe we just haven't seen the right buffed trades being played yet. Bilgewater and Zorn are still on the menu, so maybe that will be the secret. Or maybe another Rise. We'll have to see what they will cook up in the coming lobbies, because right now it looks like just going for your normal Vanquisher, Ionia lines, and Demacia lines remains strong. And if you can't fit that, just try and squeeze in your Challenger or Shurima boards. But nothing really new so far. We've seen the Bastion board that performed quite well. However, in the later stages of the game, still the cap was not high enough, the front line not tanky enough, and the Silco still being too slow. So,
I'm just taking some intel from the chat. Apparently, Demacia is, yes, as we would expect, doing well across the lobby. Scomby, happy to get the 4th with the 4-fun build. It's a time to do it. We're in something of a 4-fun patch, but not quite as much. Deadly Ghost letting us know that Stelter Kit Nasus did some pretty good work with Six Shurima. But yeah, I mean, I would certainly be expecting as well the things will head out more or less the way we would expect it, as you said, even in the space of all these buffs. I'm just going to double check, see. Hopefully, we'll have a break ready for you guys in just a second when we get set up for our second round of play. Before we do, I guess I will ask a general question because some of our players are playing somewhat for fun. Are there any compositions, buffed or otherwise, we haven't seen so far that either of you would like to see included in one of our lobbies?
So Loescher mentioned it a few times already, and Zon is really the way to go. It's really fun. You basically gamble what Zon items you're gonna get, and you have to adjust to them if you want to have more fun currently and not be able to completely force a composition. Zon is the way to go.
Yeah.
Lusher
Zone
from
pretty
you?
good, but also show me the Oriana reroll. I want to see the
Yes.
Clockwork Lady. Smaller shields now, more damage. And we don't need shields if we just kill the enemies, right? So I'm all for that. Dish out the Oriana and show us how dominant she will be.
All right. Do make sure, chat, that you have your bananas ready for round 2. We shamefully didn't have them ourselves, but hopefully, if anyone's got any bananas in the kitchen, we'll be ready for round 2 to throw bananas at our cameras and knock them over and cause all kinds of trouble. But now, though, we will be headed to break. When we return, we'll bring you the second of our 3 rounds today. And then, of course, when that's all done and dusted with round 3, we'll be doing our giveaways, our prizes for today as well. But stay tuned. Hopefully, when we return, we'll have all the fruit that you can handle. For now, though, we'll see you in a few minutes' time. Welcome back to Counter's Casual Competition, where the bananas are raining in like absolute crazy. I don't know what's going on here. I'd like to announce as well a spot prize for anybody who manages to top 2 with a Soraka AD composition. So if anyone manages that, then there's more RP going.
Be a
I'm
bit
doing a
more
really good job of
lenient.
I'm doing a really good job of simulating someone who can actually juggle. Well, not actually not to juggle at all. It's great.
But top 2 is really harsh, man. Like top 4 would be enough for me.
You think top 4?
And it
is more...
doesn't count if you just like if you go top 4 and then you like sell your board for like a Soraka 2-star and put 80 items on that. That doesn't count. So you'll have to play it for some rounds.
But I really appreciate the twist that you've brought into this competition now, and just playing for a Soraka carry might be meta in the next game, I guess.
Like it really emphasizes competitive integrity. So
well, one thing that we talked a lot about Soraka, but I believe that one thing we haven't talked about, I don't know if this is going to work, but is our friend Warwick. We have yet to see any Warwick carry going on in this stream. So do you guys think that maybe we could see a Soraka, leading a Warwick around with bananas, as bait?
well, maybe if we get some gold augments this time around in stage 2 and 3. We came out of a double silver lobby. So while we see Jergamis playing, not going for the Soraka when he had the Sorakas and the Nash's Tooth Hurricane, players are not really at fault for not being able to pick Ravenous Hunter, which I think is kind of necessary for running Warwick carry, unfortunately.
Loescher, I would disagree with you there. You know Sasa from the Rise of Legend scene. All you need to do is ask, and you'll get it. So why don't our players just ask in the chat, and that's how they get it?
Well, you didn't tell them to ask, so they weren't sure that they were supposed to play it. So obviously they'll ask next game, and then likely we'll see it.
So there is an option of playing Warwick without Ravenous Hunter, and that is in a zone board. So he's not actually a carry, but you can make him really tanky, and it could work with the right item from zone. So I'm not against the idea, but Ravenous Hunter it's pretty OP. Like I also, if I know my stats correctly, I think also one game at Worlds was won, or one lobby was won. It was not broadcasted by a Ravenous Hunter build.
Well, I mean, with the whole Zorn thing, I know that to hit the Zorn 6, you need to have the double emblem, which is pretty unlikely. But Loescher, Zion, would you still play a Zorn board with just the one emblem and go for Zorn 4 instead?
I mean, you can be fine tempo-wise. There are options where you can play around Silco Aphidios. You can slot it into a rogue composition. And we know those are decent compositions if you play them from a good spot. Hard to win the lobby with, but that may not always be your goal, especially if you start with like a bad selections of augments, because usually the zone augment or the zone spatula will come from a Wolf opener gone wrong, or gone wrong in that scenario is
gone right, I would say.
So all right, I would say. So that's what we'll likely see Zone leading up to. And then if you're able to get the Zone emblem from the branching out from the ancient archives, you're more likely to pick up a Zone specific augment in the later stages. So maybe going for that early makes it not that unlikely to pick up the 6 zone, and then it's like worthwhile to go for the risk to cap slightly lower, play for top 4 to give you that option of 6 zone giga win out. Maybe we haven't seen it yet.
All right, Zion, do you have the faith? Are you here for all of our chem friends to make a big mess in round 2?
I'm all down for the monkey business of the next game.
All right, well, let's get into it. In fact, we are dropping in here, let's see, with a player who has some very strong stated objectives on the top left. So can't get last. Aim for top 4. We ball. Gentlemen, how important do you feel like it is as we head into the Placidium Library, and we will be seeing a lot of emblems? How important do you feel like it is as a player to have those clear objectives?
Well, it certainly helps. I can tell from my POV. Like you're more focused usually if you have like a clear objective and you know what you're playing for. And without that, you kind of get a bit lost inside. You can be a bit sidetracked maybe in the game because you're not really like remembering what you're actually doing, and you're more like autopiloting it. So this can help with forcing you to focus in a way.
Maverick?
I've never really used this kind of motivation for myself, like setting up goals, but I've heard it's really effective. I don't know how effective is in TFT because I think it limits you to some extent. But if you're playing like already established lines, then that should help. But if you're more likely to play strongest board and set up a little bit off meta variations, then I think it's actually the opposite of helping. So it's gonna deceive
Interesting.
you in some spots.
All right, well, we are going on to table 5. Just going to take a quick check. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring up the points for this table because I think we've got 5 tables overall today. So this will be our bottom table for our players who had a rough time in their first game, but it's still possible in a tournament of this size to, if not at least get up and potentially get first place and maybe fight for a guaranteed prize in second. As Loescher, we get what you wanted. We have ourselves some golden augments.
Yeah, and that's really great to see in the Placidium library because that means we will see lots of deep vertical trades. Depends whether or not you like to see that or not at this point in the patch. Probably gonna be very exciting if we manage to see for Ishtal, if we manage to see for Zorn. Pick Zorn over Demacia, you know it's better. Trust.
Do it.
Also, Bilgewater was buffed. No.
No,
Yes.
teasing us? Yes! Hampus knows what's going on.
And now we're actually
making
excited.
Sure. Yeah, we're actually excited because he's making sure that he's gonna have 2 Zon emblems because he can make one from the Placidium library. And
all right, so guys, talk to me about Zorn since it's apparently actually going to happen in this game. What aspects are at play? What can make the difference here for Hampus between this being a merely an unusual comp versus being an unusual comp that maybe wins the lobby?
Well, first of all, it depends on the mods you drop.
Yeah.
So there's always you drop 5, so there's one missing, and then can really make or break the composition. Because like sometimes it can be awkward to fit double frontline, but usually you kind of want frontline as well. Sometimes you can miss like BioWare, for example, which I think is really crucial, especially to make your Silco pop off. Robotic Arm for your backline carry must be or can be a very, very, very strong options. And then you can also have interesting stuff with the Shimmering injection, where you revive with like infinite attack speed and max HP again, which for example can again Aatrox, which I think apparently takes all the emblems and makes them broken, to really like help you win out.
I've been having a lot of fun with Shimmer Injector Silco in the latest time because I feel like a static guard breaker build with a Shimmer Injector on the Silco is kind of busted since you're proccing guard breaker the whole time and you have enough attack speed to actually use static to an insane level. And also, if you're up against any backline threat, the Shimmer Injector just saves you once. Especially when overcharged, he constantly has 100 attack speed more, so it's really good.
So looking what we got from Hampus here, let's look like the longer term here. Alfred, welcome to the stream. Also, don't have a chance. I don't know if Sleppy stuck around because she came during the break, but of course, a shout out to our friends from the OS side of things. But let's talk about the long-term potential of Hampus's board here. Are we looking at re-rolling the Jinx? Are we looking at up pushing levels? What's the overall strategy likely to be?
So I think you most likely want to push level. You can reroll the Jinx. You can also go for rogue composition. Right now, he stays very flexible. He doesn't want to slam any items, which I think is very interesting as he already won one fight and wants to hold the win streak. However, right now, it's slightly strong enough. So good decision here, and then we'll have to see what he goes for. I think hitting maybe one or two more Jinx naturally is really what will make or break the decision here.
For sure, he wants to get at least level 7 so he can get 6 Zone online as soon as possible. And if the last mod is gonna be like a camp tank, probably like a Jarvan frontline, exploding Jarvans have been a thing already in set 9, also now in set 9.5. And it's the one of the main win conditions, I think, when playing Zone. And I would like to see an exploding Jarvan. Just it's a really good setup, and I would like to see the slam on the static.
Yeah, Hampus. So let's take the temperature of the lobby then. So we've got Unholy Girl and Anonymous One win streaking right now. Ramboing, we saw from before, on a fairly hefty loss streak towards the bottom. And Hampus finds himself somewhat in the middle as all the items are slammed. Apparently, the memo has been received that Hampus is going to push forward and trying to get aggressive with this lobby.
And it's really interesting because this combination of item slams does give us a direction or an idea of what the direction will be. Because this already means Silco will be relevant. You slam the statics, you will play around the Silco, but you will also play around an AD carry, whether or not that will be Jinx or you will pivot to more towards Aphelios, Aatrox, or maybe Jace. Well, that remains to be seen, but for sure we're not going to stay on level 6 now because we need to roll for the Silco.
Speaking of Aphelios and such, I mean, I'm definitely not an experienced player playing through these Zorn lines. Is it the kind of thing, would you potentially be looking to, say something like the robotic arm? Is it strong enough to be able to, say, put a Zorn emblem on Aphelios just to get the benefit of that cam mod?
Okay, so you can do it. It depends on your itemization and how many emblems you have. We will have 2 emblems here, so you will want to put 1 emblem on a frontline unit because your Echo can use the explosion. It's kind of okay if you reroll him. Your Warwick can use... I forgot the name of the exoskeleton it is. It's kind of okay, but then again, these units are not that tanky, so you want to put it on a tier 4 tank. So with the second emblem, you might go with an Aphelios there, but usually you can itemize the Jinx and then see how you're going from there. But with this setup, it is okay. Remember, however, the mod is basically 1 item for you then, and do you really want to run a 2-item carry? So there are some benefits to it, but also some risks.
In a sense, it exchanges 1 item that you're gonna use. So having the Zon emblem on a unit where you're gonna put also the mod, it's like exchanging this 1 item spot with a mod. So usually you just want the emblems on units, except for Jarvan and Chemtech. I think you actually want the mods on the actual Zone units.
That seems reasonable. But speaking of items, let's check back in with Randomwing, who, again, we know the objectives Randomwing has in this game. They are very clearly stated in the top left-hand corner. But interesting to see a buried treasures player who did get a lot of items early on, actually lost streaking very heavily and not necessarily turning those items straight into board strength.
So, well, first of all, we see he's kind of greeding his items here a bit, dropping all the rods when you do want to play AD with the last whisper here. That's really unfortunate. However, I think he already failed one of his goals or objectives here because he said we ball, and I currently don't see Orianna 3 on the board. So I'm really wondering what he's doing here.
Melio is also not there, so...
Yeah,
oh boy.
Just that seems like quite a mess.
That's some rookie moves here. Hopefully we'll see that corrected as time goes on. Rammering, as I said before, has maintained a loss streak, though not while maintaining that much in the way of HP. We can see a little taste of why that is the case. Oh, Rammering is listening to the streams. There we go. We have the direct lying to Rambring here to troll him all the way through this game.
Optimal. So he'll know that we are very disappointed with this. Oh, and this can fix the items. What the fudge?
All right.
If you have a lot of our items already, this is quite an interesting option. However, you can get scammed by the Orn augments you do get, or the Orn artifacts you do get. So I think it's interesting to try
He's
and
going
pick that.
for it. He's going
Yeah,
for
but
it.
also Challenger Crown works really well here. So these are good options. I do like it,
All
though.
right.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Rambering's here to give us a show here today. So we've got ourselves a good selection of artifacts. So it's we've got a lot of variety here, of course, with the artifacts being changed in. Well, how do you guys feel like this particular gamble played out?
I think those are quite good items, especially if you go for the Ionia composition. The Zonia's is a bit of a weird fit, but you can make it work later stages with Karma and Ari if you're trying to go deeper into Ionia. However, for now, this is really good. Allows you to stay flexible between Ionia and Challengers, and potentially even Shurima Pivot. Those should all be decent. So quite a lot of options, a lot of board strength right now, and that should be a fine position.
I did notice Zixify did have an Oriana up in the corner, so good job at adhering to the brief for today. Hopefully we'll stick with that longer term. You should check back in with Hampus, who did pick up the buried treasure. So a couple of players who've gone that route this time. But this is the prismatic one, so there's a lot of extra items coming into this now for Zorn board.
And
Gentlemen,
buried.
we've got the overload. Where do we feel like we've ended up here for Hampus's middle game?
So for now, like having the Malzahar, I think the unit itself has a pretty high attack speed cap, so it's fine to use the Zone emblem on him and keep him as a carrier of the items throughout the stage 3. But if you get a better option like this Kaisa, obviously you want to switch, and it's kind of a good spot, honestly. He's not really hitting many zone units, but we're getting there slowly.
Yeah, it's looking good. I think a small might not be too comfortable with the composition because the items are a bit awkward now. Probably has to rebuild the Jinx later. Could have probably gone for statics on the Kaiser, i.e. on the Rek'Sai. However, right now the Kaiser is plenty strong, 5k damage dealt here with the, I think it's overloaded adaptive implant, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And that is quite strong for this early in the game. And now we will see the carousel and we'll see some people sending it in 3-5. And that's really when we'll see what he'll decide on. There is an Aphelios in the carousel, so maybe he can pick that up and then get a kickstart to his Gunner composition early. Oh yeah.
Zion, I heard you making a sound there. What was it you were reacting to?
So I'm not really. First of all, I was reacting to Loescher's very sexy "oh yeah" voice, but honestly, I'm not really down for the Gunner line through Zionia. Like, let's move away from the Jinx and let's play some Silco carry and some other shenanigans. Sure, Gunner is the optimal line, but there is you can be very creative, and I feel like Kaisa was like really strong in that spot. I would have kept her for some time.
I mean, you get the Aphelios for free. You kind of want some more frontline itemization anyway, so the cloak is fine. You can also use it to buy to make the, what's it called again? The helm, adaptive helm. So I think that's a fine pickup, and you can see the Aphelios now fits very well. He already has the Shen on bench, so he has all the compositions he needs, and now he just can bide his time, go level 7, roll for the Silco, and then he should be able to hit a very, very high cap with this spot. Items are really good.
It. Well, you noted, of course, the chem tank explosion going to be a huge part. We know that Hampus's frontline is already well set up for that. We've got the war mugs ready to go immediately once that does turn up longer term. So I'm optimistic about Hampus's chances on the win streak now. Looking pretty good in the lobby overall. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see the overall scoreboard in a second. Thank you. Also, I want to take a note to say thank you to all of our streamers who are all sometimes listening to the main stream, so they'll actually help us out with like just providing information we need. So much love. Yes, we can see the scoreboard overall. Rambering is down at 36 HP. And thank you, Noodles, for taking us over there to see what's up. As we have had a Gold Monsters staff being added into the mix here, and the Placidium Library extra emblem has not been cashed in yet.
Yeah, that is because we said, or I quickly glanced over it earlier. He is quite flexible right now. He has multiple carries he can aim for with these on artifacts, and that also means he doesn't want to pop the tome preemptively. So he'll want to wait and roll for his carries. He already has 2 Xayahs, but maybe on the roll down he'll hit something else, and then he'll pop the tome. So right now it looks like Ionia Vanquisher, but you never know what happens in the roll down. So wait and see. Might be Vanquishers, might be Ionia as well, depending on how much Karmas and Ash he hit.
Zion, we are getting confirmation from Hampus that he picked the Zorn for us. So thank you very much, Hampus. We have a lot of competitive integrity here in this competition. Ahem.
Honestly, thank you, because you are also he is playing it really well, and he has a lot of gold. He will initialize probably the roll down now in the hopes of finding the Silco, just finding out the last mod. There is kind of a cheat sheet for possible mods of Zone depending on the first 2 that you get, but I don't have it on hand just now. Picking up the Zion level 7 is of course also huge. Zion can also get into the backline, and probably Loescher knows. Does he explode twice with Camp Tank or just once?
He explodes once, and he will only explode after being revived. So his passive goes first, then he has to die again, and then he explodes. So you can do it, but it's very, very delayed. You play him mostly for the front line and then like as a cleanup. However, it's not optimal for the explosion. Usually you want to proc it early. And I think with these items on the Shen as well, you're more looking for an exoskeleton that allows the Shen to basically become unkillable. However, for that, we'll still have to find a Silco, which for now we have not done. But there are more chances here. The Chemtech enhancements unfortunately don't offer a Silco, but that's good. We have plenty of gold left.
Okay, this is interesting. This isn't one which I've looked at myself, but as we saw on the screen now, as the Silver comes in, so robotic arm will be activated and Chem Tank as well. So for Hampus, everything is coming online. Of course, the Jarvan is pushed in immediately. We know the Aphelios could potentially become much, much stronger as well with that robotic arm behind him. Is everything in place for Hampus now to move forward strongly?
It looks dope, not gonna lie.
I'm really excited about this. It's just 4 Zone mods available to you. You have the Zone Augment, you have a lot of items that you can use, you have a triple carry setup, you have an instant explosion after the death of Jarvan. This is fire. It's just now who is gonna use which mod?
Yeah. Yes. So I think unfortunately there is the BioWare missing. So no real Giga Plague where you get the damage amplifier, which can really boost your composition. So for now, we'll have to wait on that. Maybe we'll find another user for the Shimmer Injector late in the game. However, that will most likely just be some insurance in the backline. And we can see Aphelios with the implants here going strong, and the robotic arm still left to choose. So the Jinx and the Aphelios should both be quite strong in later stages here. And the Silco with one of the mods, once he receives the items, should also be quite a menace. So really good setup. 2 front lines will become stronger, as we will see also him leveling up and upgrading the tier 4 units. So really good position, and really interesting to see what he will end up with legendaries potentially here on level 8, level 9.
We did have one player in this lobby who has already been eliminated, not a tournament player. I think sometimes we kind of alarm our normal lobby players by having sometimes extremely try-hard casual players coming in and running roughshod over them, so we do apologize for anyone who happens to be in those lobbies. Rambering, though, has activated full try-hard mode, so we're up to 6 Ionia, 2 challenges, of course, and we've got the Ionia emblem in the mix. You guys have faith that Ramboing can swing round the sun here and punch back up the table?
Honestly, what to Forge really helped his board out. That one round where Irelia just tanked the full force of the zone board and didn't die. Just the item combination that he has on Irelia is just so perfect somehow. She just never dies. She gets so much stats. Zonya saves her once, then she can't die because of Death's Defiance. Those three items just in the front line, I think, are insanely good. And hitting already Ash 3, having the Ionia emblem ready. I mean, the items that he's making here, he's thinking about it, but it doesn't matter because he gets a new one. And it is a sniper's focus, which is like the best pickup he could have wished for this Ash.
Yeah, that's quite nasty. And you can see here how well the itemization is being utilized here overall by this Ionia board. Once he can finally rebuild this Irelia, this should become slightly bit more stronger even. And then we can see how much power there actually is on the board, as we see a 10 Noxus board approaching, already hitting level 9 here, double emblem. So 9 Noxus will be hit. I think it already is being hit here. So yeah, this Aatrox is going ham.
Yeah, this is an unprecedented level of power, but still, the sniper's focus has done its work, though Aatrox gets directly onto the backline, just about survives. So I think we see Ramry a little unhappy with how that round played out overall, but Blonde Unicorn, as you said, has the potential to even get stronger than this.
Yeah, and you can really see how important it would have been to have these Irelia items on maybe the Shen2 or maybe an additional carry. So really, really, really huge potential there. However, stuck on level 7 for now, probably will bide his time, wait one more round, and then we'll see some form of full commit to late game board.
We can see the damage numbers here on the right hand side. Ash did a tremendous amount of work, even with only 2 items. So we got noticed he's got the potential to push further on, but only 18 HP left to go. I mean, I don't know if Ramboing survives on this point because Hampus, the Zorn 6 board, is now going face to face. This could go very badly for Rambo.
And luckily for him, Hampus hasn't found any of the upgrades yet, so there is a fighting chance over the Jarvan is now in the backline, and he will explode shortly. Oh, Ash out of range, but still not enough. Unupgraded Zorn, too broken for this Ionia board. So in the end, Ramboing has one more try left. He'll has to find everything here now in 5-1 to stay alive.
He's got a fair amount of time to work with. We've got 75 gold in the bank. We've got 1 round extra to use as extra room here. I mean, I hope we can see Ramboing turn the corner, but it seems like a big ask.
The problem here, though, is you're on 1 HP, and at one point you will have the 9 Noxus player that was level 9 with 50 gold left back in your rotation. So what are you gonna do then? What are you gonna find? And that really is what makes this a bit, well, dicey for Ramboing. Luckily, the tempo in this lobby was so high that 2 players already fell out. So worst case, it's a top 6. However, top 4 seems wide out of reach, and maybe a 5th is achievable here if everything aligns. But it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, now it's 5-1. Everybody's just hitting their level 8 boards, and it just depends now. We have a pretty big disparity between the top of the lobby and the lower part. Everybody on the top is over 50 HP. We have already 2 people dropped out, and just Pogamore and Ramboing are under 50 HP. Ramboing, of course, on just 1 life left. He has to excessively roll down all of his gold now just to stay alive. And I mean, he's still missing the Xayah 2, he's missing the Shen 2, the items are still on Irelia. And yeah, it's gonna be it for him in this game.
I think it was a tough ask to come back in, and Holy Girl just breaking her streak there. It was certainly being very dominant towards the top, along with Blonde Unicorn we mentioned before, with the Noxus board. this is becoming, we're at table 5 right now. All of our players are fighting really to leave this table with a first place, ideally, to be able to have a chance of climbing up and maybe claiming second place in the tournament overall. But the pace has become enormous, especially if we see some extra upgrades coming from Hampus. All of these boards have the chance to be massively explosive.
And especially this Jarvan, like, depending on the enemy's positioning, where he jumps, and because he has just so much health with Camp Tank and Double Warmonk, he's also not even dying. He's gonna cast 2-3 times during the team fight, and when he dies, it's usually your demise.
Do get a chance to see what an Unholy Girl is up to. She does have the 2 Bilgewater emblems. She does have a decent amount of gold in the bank, but I think she's going to be coasting a little bit to get up to level 9 and bring that 9 Bilgewater online.
I think she already has, right? Because she had the Force of Nature for a
did she
certain
have
number of
one?
rerolls augment, so I'm not quite sure if she already hit the Gangplank. But maybe she's already there. With the 50 golds and the 53 HP, she should be fine to hit that. So we're gonna see a nice show-off here between 9 Noxus, 9 Bilgewater, 6 Dawn, and then whatever else this lobby has to offer. So it's gonna be, as you expect in the Presidium Library, an explosive show-off here, especially with this exploding Jarvan for the last few fights.
Shout out to Ramboing for the attempt to entertain the stream with his particular approach to the game. I don't think that didn't work apparently. I'll try and figure that out for myself. There we go. Please do go drop a follow for any of our streamers you find entertaining. Hopefully they'll be able to provide more of that. As let's check in on our HP totals anonymous and for Gizmo. I'm going to double check what the name is. It's a little blurry there. Pretty low on the HP totals. Blonde Unicorn, though, still on 72 HP, is absolutely running roughshod over the lobby.
And we can see a Bilgewater emblem, another Zorn emblem. This means we can fit more legendaries with emblems, so I'm really excited to see that. While I believe Blonde Unicorn it is that rolled down all the gold, and so is the Duplicator left on his bench here, being level 9. So maybe looking to play 5-cost reroll here, one of my favorite pivots. As we can see, the Exoskeleton now being shifted from the Echo to the Shen, and that should be quite strong once the Echo is being remade and the items are transferred.
What do you guys think of this, the Targon inclusion here for Hampus, as opposed to something more offensive?
I like it. You're quite tanky. You want more time. You want a bit of scaling. You do quite a lot of damage over time. So
it is actually,
yeah.
It is actually huge now with the Shen. So it buffs the Shen shield, and especially because Shen resists dying here, he's constantly gonna get more healed from the Silco, as long as you keep the positioning of your Silco behind the Shen to make sure that the pool is being casted on him. As you can see, he's not dying. Jarvan is not being focused while stunning the whole board constantly. So a really nice combination. So I really like Targon here at this point.
Also, who was doubting the Aphelios earlier? Look at those numbers. Yeah. What a man. He was useless for the whole set. But this is his time to shine. So Aphelios with the robotic arm, I believe it is, really dishing out the huge numbers. And you can see the interaction between robotic and Rageblade really accelerating him to that point of like 2.5, 3.0 attack speed where he becomes really, really strong.
Oh, I'm really a big fan of this one as well. Hampus, again, chose this line of play literally just to make us happy on the stream, but is showing great ability to adapt and provide a different setup. She said the Targon, the frontline setup is very good indeed. We've only got the 1-star Phyllis. He's barely holding on, but does manage to do so. So scaling up infinitely. Does manage to hit the backline, but falls down. But at least there is the Silco still in play. It's going to be a tight round as both Silcos are chucking the Undercity tactics, but the Shen is too tough of a nut to crack.
Yeah, Shen looks really unkillable at this point.
Yeah, that was Very nice to see. Also, the Ophidios with his in-kit healing just slightly surviving for, I believe, 10-ish seconds there was really impressive to see. And Targon, I believe, really made a difference there because he would have died to one of the ticks from the enemy circle for sure there without all the sealing. But this way, staying slightly alive, dishing out enough damage for Jinx and Silku to finish the job and putting Hampus here in prime position to contest Blonde Unicorn here for the first place.
A pretty big ask. We know how strong Blonde is. There's the 2-star upgrade, so that feels like a big step forward. But guys, maybe I'm missing something here, but it doesn't seem to me like there's too many more avenues for Hampus to make this board massively stronger than it is right now.
You can always go level 9, find some legendaries. We talked about Aatrox being very good holder, Belveth is as well. You'll need to be able to afford that though. Silku can also still be upgraded. So there are quite some ways in which you can improve the sport. However, they will be very expensive. And with 38 HP, it's not that likely to happen considering the HP amounts that a loss will result in. As we can see, Unholy Girl, her Bilgewater board is no challenge to the Zaun supreme power of Aphelios, Silco, and friends.
And this was just Jarvan exploding her whole board. Her whole world just gone in one instance from the Chemtech.
So this late into things, we know Hampus has brought online, as you said, and I missed before, the Silcos, yes, has a chance to upgrade here, but it looks like we've got a relative level of comfort from what Hampus is doing. Is there any way to play around this Jarvan and stop it from just completely demolishing everything longer term?
Well, you can divide your board in a way. Jarvan will always jump to the hugest cluster of units, and you can kind of assemble your board in a way it will explode on the most useless units. However, that also means like your positioning might be a bit scuffed, so it is challenging to do so, as we see Blonde Unicorn almost getting close to the Zion 3.
Oh boy, that would be absolutely crazy. This is the 2 big hitters of our lobby, though. We're waiting to see if Unholy Girl can come back, and she actually will win the round off stream. Hampus drops down there, so Blonde Unicorn is not only crushing through the lobby, but as you said, threatening to get even stronger than he is right now as the 2-star rise is added in. We could well have our top 1 player who can rise up in round 3 and challenge for one of those top spots at the end of the tournament.
And for Blood Unicorn, I will be pretty sad if he doesn't hit at least 2 of these 5 costs until the end of the game on level 3. Zion, Aatrox, and Rise. So Zion is being hit already.
Gosh!
That's disgusting. It's 9 Noxus Zion 3, by the way.
However, first, we'll have to see the fight for the 3rd place here as Unholy Girl is trying to take down Hampus. We've seen this once before this matchup. It looked horrible, and you can see the Jarvan again exploding on the whole board, and that's it for her. Getting taken down here by the Chibi Yasuo, sliced away like the Jarvan sliced through her unit's backline HP. And with that, she goes in 3rd. And we can see now Hampus trying to take down the Zion 3, which I believe might be a bit hard now.
That's going to be pretty disappointing for Unholy Girl. That was a really good board from her to get up to the Bilgewater 9. But I suppose we're in the same sort of situation, aren't we? The double emblem from Hampus has certainly proven itself as we have got the upgrade coming in there. I think at this point for Blonde Unicorn with that Zion 3, this is really much more of a victory lap than anything else. But still, astonishingly well played from all of our players here. Looking forward, of course, to what they can bring us in round 3.
I mean, what other solution do you have here except sell whole board and try to hit also a 5-cost 3-star? That's basically it.
A bit hard on level 8.
Yeah.
So
Gonna be optimistic.
Well, let's see. It's gonna be carry sign here. He got the 80 items now.
Uh-oh.
Stunned for now. And there he charges. And now he moshes away at the whole team, just pummeled down. And that's not quite it for Hampus, but I have slight doubts that he'll be able to manage to win this.
We're fishing here for the 3-star Jarvan, but You're right. I mean, I kind of feel like even if you 3-star the Java and you blow up the rest of the board, Sion's still gonna survive that and just walk around and murder everybody else.
But you kind of hope that you keep Sion stunned for most of the time. There is no QSS on him for now. I mean, it would be a miracle here that Hampus actually gets away with that plan.
All right, Blonde Unicorn will go for the victory lap here. Sion 3 up front and center. He doesn't need anything but just the time of day to go through and slap everybody to death. Hampus, thank you for your service. Unfortunately, the situation was not conducive to a win there. Still, a hell of a lobby too. We, of course, will be updating our standings very soon to reflect that, but congratulations to Blonde Unicorn. That was an incredible game.
Oh yeah, and if you're Hampus or anyone else in this lobby, and you see Blonde Unicorn there in stage 4 on level 9, 50 gold with a duplicator on bench, I'm pretty sure you're not that confident in your ability to win this game. So I think you can be satisfied with the second tier. Still a really good showing from the Zorn board, looked quite promising, and I believe no Demacia here in this top 4. So I'm quite happy with the result of this game.
Me too, and obviously you cannot just play against the ZionChe, so it's.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Zion. You're saying your mere presence on this castle desk was enough to summon Zion back from the depths of hell. I mean, we're kind of leaning into it now. At this point, we're basically just playing for the players. That's how powerful we are on this castle desk. So our standings have been updated. You can see them on the right-hand side. There is also, and I'll post a link to this in the public-facing score sheet as well if you want to look over that at your leisure. I'll post that into the chat right now. So we will be getting ourselves ready for a fun round of play. Do bear in mind, I don't think anyone's claimed the. I'm gonna make it a top 3 with Soraka, AD Soraka. I don't think anyone's claimed that bounty as of yet. But maybe they will by the end of the competition. Again, 3-star Sion is enough to take us very happily into our third round. For any of our players who are playing, there will be a feedback form going out. If you've got any thoughts about how to improve the competition in the future, we will have one more round before today's competition is done, and then we'll start doing our giveaways as well. Just before we do go to break, from you, Zan, from you, Loescher, what do you want to see for round 3, our final round of the competition?
I feel like we opened Pandora's box now that we've seen Zon compete against all the other boards. Like if you're losing to a 5-cost 3-star, that's fine, but otherwise you have first place, second place potential with a strong opener and a Zon strategy, and some other comps might also resurface. I still want to see rogues because I feel like they have not been happening. While everything else is buffed, not many reroll compositions are happening, so that could be the counter strat for this method that we have today on this tournament.
So my objective for the last game is we balling. So I want to see the Oriana, and this after the 50th buff for sure. It will be enough to be strong. I'm trusting on that.
All right, well, gentle friends, with help from our new friend Penfold here, who of course is a butterball in himself, we'll be headed to break, and then when we return, we'll have our final round of the competition. I can't promise we'll be seeing a 3-star Sion, but we will be seeing a 3-star Zion. Stay tuned, and we'll be back through soon for round number 3. Welcome back, one and all, to Counter's casual competition where the bananas keep on raining in. Ow, I just hit myself in the face with one. We're set up for round number 3. Gentlemen, start your engines, for we have only one more game left here today. Zion, would you give us a blessing for the final game? Because we know that we have unnatural witch powers on this desk. So what's going to happen in game 3?
So I want you to summon all your energy that you have and make like a big pot, okay? And put all your bananas inside and make a big like protein powdery shake that's we're gonna light up on fire, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna blow up everything, and it's gonna be like the Jarvan from the last game.
Sounds delicious. Loescher, how about you?
Well, I mainly want you to train juggling. That looked quite dangerous. I'm concerned.
You're right.
You see. Luckily, you have glasses that kind of protects your eyes, but I'm very concerned otherwise. So, but game-wise, that was quite exciting. So we've seen the interesting Scuttle Beats by Scuttle region not being selected, and maybe I want to see one of those really crazy regions getting selected in the last game to really make 9.5 go out with a bang.
All right, that seems reasonable. I want to reiterate, because Ramboing is asking, the Soraka, AD Soraka bounty is another one of our standard prizes, so just a little drop of RP for anybody who can take an legitimate AD Soraka comp to a top 3. We will be double checking, so no shenanigans, you naughty Twitch chat. There's our regular prizes over on the right-hand side there. There's no banana prize included because it's, of course, just something I'm pulled out of my ass because we just started talking about bananas a lot. But yeah, Ramboing has made the promise, so keep an eye out. If you want to check out Ramboing's stream, we will be going to Lobby 2. And I don't know if Ramboing's actually in that one, but you can still follow Ramboing wherever you might be looking if you go directly to his stream. No, but what we will be seeing is from our previous game, Blonde Unicorn, who had that absolutely ludicrous board. 3-star Zion. 3-star Zion. Do you think he can pull it off again?
The constellations are in order. Like Mars is in the orbit of Venera currently. I think if you pray to the TFT gods and follow a little bit of astrology, then probably, yeah.
Oh, surely he will do it a second time, right? It can't be that hard. In the end, he even had the gold left to try and roll for Rise 3. So, surely. Just force it.
Yeah, easy peasy. We'll be having in our next lobby, so Blonde Unicorn, Hampus, of course, we saw from before as well. Tommen, again, we saw, and Squampy, who apparently has been splitting his time between playing TFT and creating food for his fam, which I haven't got confirmations on if it is the exploding banana sundae, but I like to think that fireworks plus food is a safe and wholesome way to enjoy your meal.
I didn't try cooking it yet, but I will try after this stream because I've got some weird ideas how we can combine bananas with other ingredients, especially potatoes. I'm gonna go the minion route. So if anybody knows potatoes from the Minion song, I just had to do it. And well, it's sounding like a very toxic concoction that I'm preparing for myself later. I will be using it as my protein
injection
for the day. Injection for the day before the gym workout.
Okay, so what would you say is more toxic than banana with potatoes or banana with explosives? Because I would argue that the explosives kind of remove all the toxic stuff because they're just blown away. Everything that will be left is just the pure enjoyment of pain.
Oh my gosh! Well, speaking
as a German, you cannot be against potatoes.
Is that not allowed?
That's why I migrated to Norway.
Oh my gosh!
I got banned from Germany due to my opinion on potatoes. However, they eat even more potatoes in Norway. So,
Oh, baited.
yeah.
Or potated, you might say. Let's get into our last lobby then of the competition. Hopefully we can put those potatoes and exploding bananas behind us, because we are at table 2. So we've only got one person on table 1 with a point of view. That's Dancing Beggar. We will check in there from time to time, because if Dancing wins, of course, very likely to win the competition overall. Here in table 2, we'll see if our players are adventurous, not just in their culinary tastes, but in their approach to the game. We've seen these players before, and they have delivered some big old exploding banana action.
Rock and rolling we are. You go, girl.
Yeah!
I have no clue what this does, but it sounds exciting.
I don't think everyone's updated for set 10 now, so I don't think I can even look it up anymore. Let me Google it.
Well, maybe Blonde Unicorn is listening in and can quickly go over the region here. But it looks like we'll have the level up mechanic where you get rewards for leveling up your units across the lobby here from Ishtar. And that should
it's
be
mixed.
combined with another Ishtar region. So what do we have left there?
It's Ixocan plus Slaughter Docks, so make of that what you will.
Slaughter Docks are is the reroll region, right?
Yeah, rerolls
Yes.
at the beginning of the stage.
At the beginning of the stage or randomly?
No, at the beginning of the stage. The
Increasing
lucky
every
shops would be
stage.
Red Town.
So. Yeah, true.
There's a lot to remember here, but okay, so we've got rerolls coming in. We got the Ixocan as well, which you can see already activated, which means our players will be getting more stuff every time we get people leveling up their units. So presumably with all these free rerolls, we're going to see a pretty chaotic lobby where there's going to be an absolute ton of strong units and the items they need to support them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think it's the combination, because usually the Ixocan region doesn't cap that high because the people are not hitting that much 3 stars, and so it's not that explosive. But this Slaughter Dogs kind of accelerates this, so I'm really curious to see if we manage to reach like the high rewards here for this region, which I haven't even seen that much over the course of the set.
They do get pretty spicy if my memory serves us. Yes, Squampy! It's coming through for us huge here. We don't have the guaranteed Zone 6 in this game, but we've got the chance, and even, of course, a Woofy boy to help us out onto the field. What do you guys think of this setup?
Piltover.
That's a Piltover start with a Zone emblem.
Yeah.
This is just absolute fire, honestly. The first mod is also very good, so we might not even want to go for 6 Zone at some point. I think this is actually enough of a mod to carry us.
Hear me out. It's the Zorn Oriana reroll.
Oh, all right.
I mean, he already leveled he pushed level 4, so it's becoming quite unlikely. But trust the process.
We know our players here at Table 2. They're balancing their inner bestial nature, their desire to pour chaos into this world and reshape it in their image, with the need to maybe finish, as high as possible. There's still a chance for these players at Table 2 to get into second place and get that guaranteed prize. But the temptation is always going to be there to, as we saw in our previous game, just make a complete mess of things and at least make yourself memorable.
Yeah, meanwhile we can see Ionia here being played by Tommen, scouting now. We see a Draven player, Spores of War selected. So that's interesting with a Void Opener. That should be quite strong. Good prospects for that competitor. As we see Hampus, also Ionia here. So they will be contested. And that will be quite, difficult for both of them to hit their carries respectively later.
Does that close off the Ash reroll route, or would this maybe encourage one of them to go for it while the other one pushes level and gets the the 4 cost variation online sooner?
So could happen, but Hampus, I really want to focus on these Sorakas that he has on the board. He really is going for this Ionia Soraka. Ionia will give her attack speed enough, and then if he hits some AD items, we've got
Ooh.
ourselves a banana game here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Ionia Soraka. That should work out. I'll allow it.
I mean, I want to see it. Let's see. Does Rageblade RFC Hurricane counter Soraka? I will leave it to Loescher and Zahn. Is that enough? Is it Rageblade RFC Hurricane enough to count for AD Soraka?
Oh yeah, I mean that's an auto attack based build, and I think that's what we are looking for, I would say.
Zahn, do you agree?
It incorporates like you can combine Invoker with Ionia really easy because of Karma and Shen, obviously. So Soraka being the carrier wouldn't be so weird. And you can also, like, with rolling Soraka, you can also roll the Targon. You can later add some other things. Soraka with a BF! Come on!
Yes! It's calling to you! Come on, someone's gonna grab that.
No, Tommen!
Tom, what a troll. Ugh,
Oh.
how awful. So, as we mentioned, we are at table 2 right now, which of course is the table of the Immortals, but there is another table running, which is table 1, which will likely determine who will be going through, and whoever wins it is very likely our tournament champion. Dancing Bagel, who of course has got a great name, is our point of view, our only point of view into this lobby. So we'll do our best to keep track of things. We won't be, spending all of our time here, but just kind of checking in to see who is doing well. It looks like this particular lobby is barely started, but the dance party is well underway.
And what would you expect otherwise from a dancing bagel to get supported by this chibi Aatrox?
Oh, no, okay, sorry, misunderstood. This is not a dance party at all. It's something else entirely. So this is, I don't know if you're aware of this before, but players are not to be trusted with any kind of little legend that has any kind of emote at all.
Well, human nature trying to find the essential meaning of anything.
Are you trying to come around to life finds a way in a really roundabout way?
Yeah, you could put it like that. The same way the Aatrox puts it in some way.
I mean, that choreography for that dance move, I've did that once before with the bagel. I don't know what you've been doing all your life.
Oh my lord. We're all going to prison. So Dancing Bagel, at least has picked up endurance training. I know this has been changed in set 10 to be a little bit more friendly to sharing this across your team, but what do you guys think about this one as a long-term project here for Bagel?
So long-term projects, really hard to say at this point. He has many options. He has also 2 Milios. He has some kind of invoker start already. So fitting in 4 invokers at the start of the game could be an option. But then he is... Actually, invokers sounds fun. Why are we not playing invokers at all? He wants to play this Demacia line because he already has the Queen and some okay items to go into that line, but Invoker should be also strong. Karma got also some buffs, if I'm not mistaken. Karma carry could be an option for some of the players, as we see it here.
Yeah, however, not everyone is always just concerned with what is the most fun. Some people are concerned with what do I have to do to actually win, especially in level 1. And the endurance training works very well with the Demacia armor and MR you get from the trade. So your effective HP is quite high from this augment. And with the Quinn already here from the box, some decent components for Avow for Jarvan, for example, Edge of Night for Mordekaiser, RC, Last Whisper. This is looking quite promising, and I can see Dancing Babel committing to this line, while also maybe eyeing with more Shurima approaches where the max HP is also quite potent. However, now with the KL, this looks like a wrap.
I'm a little worried for Dancing Bagel. Didn't get that many kills there to make the to get the procs on and get the extra HP in the mix. But we'll be keeping an eye on this one long term. Again, this is our only view into Table 1, which is, of course, the table at the very top where we likely will find our champion for today. We will be switching back to Table 2 in just a little bit to check in with them since we've got a better idea of what they're doing overall. Something we haven't seen so far in the tournament, though, guys, it's the Void coming through, which we have got in this lobby. How do you guys feel about Void at the moment? Vis-a-vis going for 6 or 8.
So, I think Void is really great in these lobbies where everyone gets one emblem, but not the second one. Because you can spike really hard on one emblem, while most of the other compositions rely on 2 emblems to get really, really powerful. So it can be a kind of cheesy way to win out the lobby, mostly due to, well, how everything plays out in terms of region and then augments as well. So it's a good option, and I like seeing it. Not the strongest to win out, but very strong for top 4 the least.
All right, Zion, we are going to be switching back to Lobby 2 once this carousel is done, but we can definitely see Q Dodge and QTPT doing very well. So we'll trot back in here a little bit later on to catch up with how everything is developed, but we do need to recalibrate ourselves with our main on-stream lobby. Of course, we've got Squampy here who decided with a composition that apparently has no idea what he's doing. He's never played it before to decide to bring out and looking like a pretty solid setup here.
He did already win one game, so he did destroy his lose streak. Of course, he can play the win streak Piltover because he is generating 1 extra gold every round, and it lets him basically after every 2 rounds have a free reroll while he's searching for the Jinx. And in that sense, that's how I do math in TFT. So, and it is a really strong line, depending also on the second mod that he got with him. Second augment that he picked up as well with for the gunners is actually really strong, and it basically exchanges the need for playing 6 gunners that you want usually. Because you hit the 6 gunners threshold, so to say, or the value of the 6 gunners with this augment with only 4 gunners. So pretty nice line. He can take a top 4 with this really easy.
Looking at the overall lobby, Unholy Girl on a win streak right now. We did see her bring out the Bilgewater 9, though it finished a little bit shorter than we maybe would have hoped for. She's absolutely rushing through this lobby.
I'm not sure. Did you catch that just now? Someone was at the top right. You could see it briefly, zooming in on the Sejuani 2 here in 3-3.
Well, that's a legitimate thing to happen at this point, surely.
Jungler with the Draven opener fully committing here, probably trying to go fast 9 off of it and winning out in that way. Already off to a good start in the high rolling part of things. But also Blood Unicorn, once again, this looks like 9 Demacia in the making. So, quite scary.
Yeah, we can already see it's very strong. The dedication going to function very similar to what we saw before. The guaranteed second augment. So, Blonde in a good position. We've got a good amount of HP. Well, I say good amount of HP. I would take that back. It's actually not got a good amount of HP at all. 56 to play with. That might be the only thing standing in Blonde's way of getting up to level 9 and unleashing the full power of that composition.
His first real spike is on level 7, where he can just hit 7 Demacia. And after that, how healthy he's going to be depends on the rolls that he's going to make. If he hits Mordekaiser too early and adequate items for him, it could happen. But at this point, he only, in reality, has only two spatulas and no real value on his board.
At least he does find a Jarvan off of that last carousel, so has the guarantee and also an upgrade on the Quinn as well.
I take my
things are looking pretty
back.
good.
Well played. That's how you should usually approach it. Also dropping a QSS here, potentially, if he wants to commit that. Looks quite scary Only Mordekaiser missing, potentially even an RC as well. However, that should be fine without. As we see, Tommen on the contested Ionia line has the Ash for now. Found an Anila, so that should be quite fine. Guardbreaker, one of the best items you can build in this composition. And for now, running on splitting the items quite a bit. And you'll have to find a compromise between this Nila and this Ash quite soon.
So, Zion, I'm a big fan of shoplifting, but I also like this augment as well. What do you think of the shoplifting choice here from Ringos?
So shoplifting is one of the best augments to push levels, I think, especially really early in the stage. After 3-2, you could already push level 7 to get more value out. So you ensure that you're one of the first players that are gonna hit in his shops 4 cost units, which are gonna be automatically bought, which you can sell. So you generate your gold back with the augment, so you can force the level faster. On the other hand, you can also high roll with it really hard because you don't have to spend gold to buy the high cost units that you need, and it should spike him now through stage 3 and the beginning of the stage 4. Later out in the game, it drops off because of the unrealistic chance that you're gonna get a Scion 3 or other 5 cost units to level 3, and if the other players in the lobby see your intentions, they could actually also push levels with you and contest you on that line. So it's depending on how competitive the lobby is, I think shoplifting gets better or worse with it.
Just an update on our previous note from before. Hampus and Tommen, of course, were contesting the Ionia line. They both got the Ionia emblem. But as we saw in the previous round, Hampus going down the Invoker route with a loving invocation. Loescher, is that something you would like to see, or are Invokers too weak?
Well, Karma got a bit of compensation buffs for blue buff being nerfed. However, in the Invoker comp, you didn't really build blue buff anyway. So Karma Invoker just got straight up buffed. Now, in that composition, you really like an Ionia emblem because that means you don't have to go 8 to find the Ari to fit the 6 Invoker board with the Bastion frontline and the Shen. And that really boosts your strength quite a bit because you're relying on Shen, you're relying on Karma, and both of them want their Ionia bonus active. And also you want to find Karma on 3, very, very, very crucial for you in that scenario. And you can't really do that if you have to push 8 to put in like an RE1 or a set 1 just so your trades are active. So a nice pivot, recognizing it's very unlikely he'll be able to win out contested in this scenario, and just adapting and going for the Invoker route instead is something I really like.
We are getting word that there is a Ramboing has decided to go for the AD Soraka as well, so our players contesting for that spot. If we have multiple players taking... Oh, there we go. Thank you very much. There is AD Soraka being evidenced there on our screen. Thank you so much, Red Noodles, for showing us that. So if we have multiple players taking a top 3 with a Soraka, it will, of course, be a draw between them. I'm not made of RPGs. Blood Unicorn. Oh, Blood Unicorn, Blood Unicorn. Not quite that violent of a name. Getting the win there. Again, this is the player we're looking to see move forwards to eventually level 9, and has got a lot of money in the bank to do it as the gold augment comes in to finish us off.
Interesting options here for the Demacia board. Really not really what you're looking for in the end. 12 gold from the grab bag is probably the best you can hit there, because your only goal right now is going level 9, and for that you need gold. So that should be good. Should be fairly stable to reach level 9 as well, if he manages to find one of the tier 4 units, and Mordekaiser more specifically. But also, this Invoker board is also shaping up, Ionia board, sorry, is shaping up to be quite strong.
It's stage 4-2. He has good enough frontline items. He can pick up insane backline items as well. All 3 carries for his team are already fully itemized, and he has enough gold in this stage to get back up to 50, and as well as resources from HP, he can stay longer alive, I think, here and get to the cap that he wants, where he is on level 8. He's still barely losing rounds, but I'm really intrigued by the enemy player's board here by Eula, while because he is playing like a reroll Ionia board with Jin and some investment also for Irelia tree, and I didn't see that for a long time since the PBE of set 9.5.
So Eula Archon is our non-tournament player in this lobby, and as you said, we've now got confirmation that that is another contest on this Ionia line. We thought it was free for Tommen to move up, but instead we'll be having to now fight harder to get those 2 stars in place.
Yeah. Eula is, of course, in the tournament and not outside of it. However, still another contestant here makes the pivot to the Invoker line much more relatable. And then we can see Tommen here. He will really struggle to find his upgrades and now quickly dropping in HP. So he'll have to act sure probably after this carousel. Hopefully being able to pick up maybe 1 unit there as well, because these items are looking quite fine already. So really just the units missing. And then hopefully there's enough to maybe even stop the Draven. Always Bim Jungler is eyeing. And maybe also stop the approaching 9 Demacia board that is like in very dire position here now with 15 HP.
Oh, but apologies to Eula. I was looking at the wrong table there. We have got Spatula there for Eula coming in. We know that can work extremely well for that kind of board to allow for that late game push. Check back in with our friend Hammers, of course, who has got the Zorn, so not the 2 Zorn emblems go up to Zorn 6, but we have got an interesting setup there. But I believe we will be hopping on to table 1 in just a second to see how things are developing there. Because again, this is the place where we're likely to see our winner coming together. Boom shakalaka, or at least that's my approximation. Currently on a win streak, pressuring down everybody else as the upgrades come a calling.
Ooh. And we do see an interesting board here. It's like a mixture of Sorcerer and Demacia with the Strategist in there as well. By the items committed, I expect this to be a pivot towards a Shurima angle. However, with the Deathblade as well, it's just looking, it's a bit all over the place, but seems to be working fine-ish for now. Getting punished heavily by the Demacia board, though, and I expect to see more of this punishing here for TFTs for nerds, as the 7 Demacia board with the upgraded Rek'Sai in this stage is quite strong. And now with the last augment, that should give the direction for the rest of the game. Let's see what's in here.
You have my bow is most likely the obvious choice here, I feel like. Slayer's Resolve is kind of strong, but we do shy away of playing 6 Slayer in this spot, since we do have the Demacia emblem. And he actually goes for Trees of Crowd, which gives another health boost to his whole composition. And currently he has 3 cost units, and so he might be adding more together with his first augment that's like a lot of HP buffed with the armor and magic or all resistances that he gets from Demacia, which just exponentially scales through the late game.
Yeah, enemies are quite strong that we see here. RZ2 already, Nasus 2, also a double RC Nila 2-star on one of the opponent's board. However, here we can see the Shurima board sure is quite strong, but no combat augments. Not at all. Economy is everything, apparently. However, that might not be enough to win this fight. The Nasus, though, slightly holding on it. It means Quinn won't be able to finish the job, and Dancing Baby Girl takes a huge hit, dropping to exactly 50 HP.
We'll come back to table 1 a little later on, because of course we've got a lot of players who are low HP. We're going back to table 2, where we've got most of our streamer point of views, because we are very close to seeing Tommen getting knocked out entirely. Has been riding a long loss streak, as Blonde is also in the same position, go to level 9. We've got 3 players on most likely a single life, and they are going to go all in right now.
Yeah, and you can see that this is kind of the risk of playing very greedily, because this is what it was, playing very greedily, just rushing for level 8 here to fit 6 Vanquisher, 6 Ionia, which obviously is a huge spike. However, by doing so, you sacrificed all your HP, and now you do have a death match against blonde unicorn, who's also dropped to 2 HP, trying to reach Demacia on level 9, and he just managed to do so. And that means that Tommen lost the gamble, lost the game, and goes out in 8th place.
We know Blonde has got very good command of the late game power as Eula Archon gets knocked out in 7th, Tommen in 8th, Windrose and our friend Blood Unicorn here, or Blonde Unicorn holding on to the tail end. We've above them, you can see on the scoreboard, Hampus and Swampy are both on win streaks, so we could be down to a top 4 as of this next round.
And at the start of stage 5, everybody got 8 free rerolls because of the region. So basically, everybody pushed level 8 before that, or on stage 5-1. You have 8 free rerolls. You're gonna hit probably at least one of your 2 cost or one of your 4 cost carries. And we're jumping now back to Hampus, who did start off the game with this Ionia Soraka, and Nashers is on it, but I don't see an AD item. I don't know if we can call this an AD Soraka build, but it is 3-star, it is carrying him. So, and it is winning for now.
I guess we can put it to the chat. The chat is, of course, the fairest way of deciding these things. Is this close enough to an AD Soraka to count for the AD Soraka prize? Let us know in the chat what your opinion is, because there's nowhere fairer than the internet's Twitch chat.
The AS Soraka, right?
Yeah, I'll give the chat some time to think about it, but I do think it's a scam here. Because we do have lots of look at the damage distribution on the damage chart. It's mostly AP. And then the attack speed is only and more cast only boosting the Loving Invocation. So I think it's a bamboozle, and I wouldn't allow it, but I'm also very strict. So chat might be a bit more lenient.
I mean, the board's, even aside from that, is working pretty darn well. I mean, the front line is holding up, if barely. That invocation you noted will mean long rounds go very heavily in Hampus's favor, as it even manages to get the cash out on a needlessly big gem before it's all said and done. Look at those damage numbers, 10,000 damage for the Karma, not even at 3-star yet.
Yeah, you could also see Jungler there. He was, last time we checked, he was on 91 HP, still win striking at the start of stage 4. And he then went on the apparently biggest lose streak of his life, not really killing anything, apparently, dropping all the way to 12 HP now, reaching level 9, but there must be some legendaries which he has to hit to, well, mellow out and round out the sport. Finds the Scion 2 now, however, next time he'll face Blonde Unicorn, will at least strong enough to defeat the 9 Demacia board.
Oh boy. So we have got the upgrade on the job, and that is going to be significant. Needing to buy as much time as possible for that Mordekaiser to stack up and start killing absolutely everyone. I like the Fiora in the front line as well. This feels like a solid setup for Blonde Unicorn, and always blame Jungler, though he's not facing against him directly. It's still the most vulnerable to being knocked out in this round and allowing Unicorn into the top 4.
We do have like 5 Radiant items here spread on 5 units, and all of them are almost fully itemized except the Quinn. Those items will be added after the start of stage 6, hopefully, if he can find some components for this Quinn, or at least one more extra AD item, and or she, Blonde Unicorn, actually on a way to win this lobby with the state of the board that it is now. Of course, there is some shenanigans that can happen because of the region. Rock and rolling is just dropping your random items, and now we get some support items.
Finally, another remover. Exactly what Swampy needed here. However, the Gunners are shaping up to be quite strong. There is a Heimerdinger with upgrades that is just waiting to be upgraded as well, and that might be quite strong and should be able to stay relevant here in this lobby. However, I think Unholy Girladis that he's facing now, she built up a rogue board here, and that's quite nasty. The Jace is dead, and so are the hopes of winning this fight. And with that, Swampy drops to 1 HP, as always played jungler, is getting taken out there by Blonde Unicorn.
Almost!
Drops
What?
as well.
You spoke too soon, Loescher. You should have had more faith. in that
Okay.
surprisingly tanky echo. Hampus goes out. Blame Jungler is out as well. We are looking for our player that finishes in the top one here to maybe rise up, and if the stars align, end up taking second place overall and that guaranteed spot. I'm so impressed with what we're seeing here from Blonde Unicorn, though. We saw him finish out the previous game with a 3-star Scion. He's on a win streak, even if Swampy and Unholy Girl have got the HP totals.
Oh man, for me, I'm a non-believer. It's certified now. I should probably, or maybe okay. I'll do another prediction
All
with
right.
the knowledge that I'll be wrong. So I think that this Demacia bot will win the lobby because no one can beat 9 Demacia. It's way too broken.
All right. Anything different from you, son?
I mean, I announced it already in the last rounds. All these roles now might help some other board, some 4-cost 3-star if it can come out of Squampy, or Unholy Girl. Gangplank 2 is already like a huge buff for Squampy's board. Of course, the itemization not making really sense on the Heimerdinger. I feel we did want to go for full gunners, so maybe Zon Aphelios was the way to go instead of that waste of gold on the Heimer. But yeah, Demacia is just too strong.
Unholy Girl is out in third place. Squampy is left alive, but that last round was incredibly brutal from the Unicorn, looking to gore through everyone else. Squampy does find the upgrade on the Silco, but Loescher, it's seeming more and more like you could well be right as a 2-star Aatrox joins the field. Surely nothing takes this board down.
And I don't see the opening here necessarily for Squampy. Maybe there is some positioning. Oh yeah, with the Zephyr will have to hit. It does. However, is that enough? I don't believe the Jarvan ult is dodged here. So it will be a very hard fight. We've seen at the last time. The team is just too tanky.
Aatrox being sent up in the air buys a few more seconds, but this Demacia board will not be denied. Blonde Unicorn, with a hell of a game, crushes through and takes first place in our ultimate lobby. We believe we will be dropping across to our first table to see how things are developing over there, because that's still up in the air. Whoever wins this lobby is likely our tournament champion.
So let's see here. The Demacia board, to everyone's surprise, still doing good. Boom Shakalaka dropped the win streak, but still remains in first place in HP. Tarek 2 on that board. We can hopefully see some scouting here now for the boards. Yes, we see Sox, we see Void, and we see Juggernauts.
3 Juggernauts emblems.
Yes.
So that's quite good. Dancing Bagel, though, griefing, holding the Aatrox.
Juggernaut probably being the most undervalued and underplayed trait of the whole set. Like, vertical Juggernauts, when have you ever seen that? But here, for Zero of the Mask, he is taking this out. And I'm interested to see if it has merit to play it at all. I think most of us have tried it at least once and never again. So Zero of the Mask might be one of us after this game.
An update on our bounty for the day. I think that's primarily served to bait multiple people into going bot 4 as of their final game. So, still no Deadly Ghost. Rabbering, thank you for your attempts to give us AD Soraka in our lives. It was a valiant attempt, but as you can see here from Dancing Bagel, perhaps the old ways are the best ways.
It looks like all the buffs were in vain. Maybe Zorn, which already was strong, now really can compete here. However, there's no Zorn in this lobby. Just a lot of emblems to make this Baron more powerful and back it up with Sork Kaiser, with Challenger Belvath. However, we can see even the Scalio 2 is too tanky for the mighty Baron Nashor. And with that, I believe the win streak will continue. It does.
Oh boy. It does look like we're on a collision course. Dancing Bagel picks the road most traveled. Of course, we're getting the more and more items flooding in here across the field. I mean, I'm seeing here that we've got the chance for Dancing Bagel to get even stronger. That Jarvan isn't itemized as of yet.
Oh, true. Redemption, not the item you want to see here, but still quite good. A bit earlier cast. And then with an additional selection offered here with the dragon in stage 5-7. Should round out this competition quite well. And then let's see if there's someone that can take this down. However, 86 gold still left. Makes it quite demanding.
Worth to note is that Dancing Bagel managed to get to 6-1 without a Mordekaiser. So Mordekaiser is just now entering the game, and Fiora was the main carry up until now, and that just proves to me and to everybody else how valuable actually this stacking health is that he managed to put on his board. And now the Mordekaiser, which is still not itemized, he doesn't even want it because he wants to keep the health that he gathered on the Rek'Sai. And well, Mordekaiser just abusing health as well because his shields gets bigger. Just another frontliner here for the Quinn and for the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai 3 being his choice, but he might have to pivot into the standard line after this loss.
And we can see the Sork board there putting up a good fight. Frontline just being melted away, and the Ahri and the Silco in the end come through. Dancing Bagel now got another drop of items here from the region. I believe it's Targon combined, like the Stimmy on 40 HP. It looks like combined with Yorick's Graveyard. So quite a lot of items, and he's running out of units to put him on. However, this Mordekaiser was still unitemized, so he'd gladly take those. And now he's quite a bit stronger. Let's see how this fight goes against the Sork bot now for the second time.
I mean, this, yes, he said, it was kind of crazy to see we weren't on full power. He's actually said, Zion, now that will no longer be the case. We've got the Mordekaisers building up slowly, but does get blown up. The raw damage on display here from the Sorcerer is actually overwhelming. Even all of those resistances and all of that bonus health you mentioned, Zion.
Morellonomicon actually dealing more damage the more health you have, so burn, baby, burn.
Well, I believe the fights were a bit too quick for the burn damage to come in that huge there. However, still quite impressive showing from the Sorks. Important thing for them is once the first enemy dies, they will just pop, pop, pop all around the board. Kaiser 3 now from Boom Shakalaka should make this a bit more competitive. However, for Dancing Bagel, this means he's in quite the rough spot. He has 40 golds, but no time to spend it. And I believe that means he might go down here.
Yeah, of course, we've got to remember that the Sorcerers have that maximum health damage they push in, as maybe the Ghost version isn't quite strong enough to push out Dancing Bagel. Boom Shakalaka is our currently undefeated player in the competition. First place in both games so far. That 3-star Kaiser will make sure that he stays alive in the last round as QTP, TTT, maybe a few more T's there, maybe fully necessary. Dancing Bagel gets knocked out. We're down to our final two. If Boom wins this lobby, and it's looking very likely, then that will be a guaranteed win here of the Counters Casual competition.
Yeah, and QTPTT denies the declaw. First of all, it's very good against him, but then also very good against the Kaiser 3. So good pickup there. However, stuck on level 8, the important thing to maybe win this matchup would be an Ahri 2, and I don't think that is happening, unfortunately. Maybe the Orianna 2-star on the bench could do it if she was 3-star with 3 items. However,
at least if we're dropping out.
Yeah.
If he's dropping out, let's drop with the ball.
Exactly. However, this current board now has to do. And I believe the Kaiser may be a bit too strong, but I'll gladly be surprised. Let's see how the Silco performs once again.
Boom has not dropped a single game so far. The Sorceress Kaiser here just ripping through absolutely everyone. I think QT, honestly, relatively lucky to get to this point, but the Sorceress on both sides of the equation as Boom goes with a clean sheet and becomes our champion here. 2 first places. My apologies. The results are getting switched around. It's confusing me a little bit. As we see the only poetry this end needs in the chat there from Dancing Bagel. Boom Shakalaka with an astonishing final game. That is a worthy way to take the title.
Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Bombastic, and Boom Shakalaka it is. At the end, Kaisa 3, just enough. I've been waiting for this kind of line where you just play a good, solid mid-game board and then transition into your high roll for cost 3-star.
Yeah, well done. Recognizing the strength of the Void board in the mid game and then utilizing it to just bide your time, save your HP until you can hit this Kaiser 3 as your win condition. So well executed and well deserved as a victory.
All right, so I believe we've got all the results we need to be able to confirm our results here, because it's only players towards the bottom who haven't finished who won't be able to cause any tiebreakers here. But we've actually had a surprisingly close competition towards the top end in particular. So I'm just going to double check with Wet Noodles that these are going out on stream at the moment. But if that is the case, yes, then these we can see as we've got here. Suski Business Ramboing. We'll go through absolutely everybody. We can see towards the bottom of the table, it was very, very close indeed. Moving up to 11th to 20th, that going to be pushed out by Egerman with a pretty solid performance. In fact, a four-way tie, including Yelka at the top there, for 10th place overall, including an Hula Girl, of course, we saw on stream before. But moving up into our top spots, of course, Hampus, who sacrificed his own happiness to make sure that the stream got exactly what it needed. There in, I believe, 8th place overall. TFTs for Nerds, of course, we remember from much earlier on, but Dancing Bagel coming in 4th overall. And we have got a confirmation on how to say this name. So it's Cutie Patootie is how to say that QTPTT name. So thank you very much, Cutie Patootie. Will be our first podium place in second place. In third place. In second place, Blonde Unicorn with some truly ridiculous games coming out 5th, 1st, and 1st place. But up at the very top, we had no doubts about it. Boom Shakalaka with a completely clean sheet, 3 first places, and a well-deserved win there. Congratulations to them. I mean, I'm going to see if we can get Boom to come onto stream. I don't know if they've actually got a microphone to be able to do that. But congratulations to them. Loescher, Zion, what kind of player do you think it takes to go through the entire tournament and not drop a single placement?
All luck.
Depending on the skill level throughout the board, I can agree with Loescher. So if you are playing high level competitions which are not casual, it is mostly luck because everybody's just playing the same lines. But in this casual competition, it is actually creativity. I think recognizing your spot and just playing a line that is not contested while seeing a clear path to your win condition is gonna work, because not everybody's playing optimal.
So I think we will be able to. Let's see. Can you join the chat? I believe we will be able to get Boom Shakalaka coming to join us. Don't have Cam, that's absolutely fine. Let's see if we've got Boom Shakalaka. Boom, if you could join one of the voice chats, we'll drag you up to the on stream, and then we'll be able to chat with you a little bit and see if indeed it was just pure luck. But again, congratulations to Boom and to Blonde Unicorn for being our 2 guaranteed persons. Let's see, and we've got. Oh, there we go. Boom Shakalaka is here, so let's drag him up. Whoop, 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 whoop. Gosh, this is a little trickier to do than I would like. Let's move them here, and then see if we can lurch them up into. Boom! Welcome to the stream. How are you feeling after your astonishing 3 first place run?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm happy. It was fun.
So,
And I went first 3 times. Can't complain.
we did get an outrageous accusation from Loescher, and I'll let Loescher defend this position, that it was all purely due to luck. How do you feel about being put on blast like that?
Of course, it's TFT. TFT is all luck.
So you see, the good players actually recognize that it's all luck. That's the difference.
No, my first game was all luck. It was all prismatic lobby. I rolled double build spats, and then I went fast 9, so it was a free win. And I played the same comp in games 2 and 3, so yeah, bit of luck, bit of skill, I guess.
So in your second lobby as well, you played Void reroll or Voids into a level 3
maybe
Kaisa?
maybe it's a lot of luck, because in the second lobby, on my level 7 roll down, I found 2 Aries, so I had the same board but 6 Orcs instead of 8 Void.
Yeah, I can see
Okay, so maybe it's a lot of luck. I agree.
I can see the argument for it. Yeah.
So, to Boom, do you? I think the answer to this is no. But do you stream at all?
No.
Well, in that case, is there anybody that you would like any streamers you would like to shout out, or anyone who might be watching, who's close to your heart?
No one in particular, aside from the people that played today. So shout out to whoever was streaming the games and made this possible. Shout out to you. Shout out to them.
All right. Well, no, Boom, thank you so much for coming and joining us again. Again, congratulations on becoming our tournament champion. Hopefully, we'll see you back here again at a future date to defend that title and prove that you are, in fact, the luckiest TFT player in the land.
Sure. Thanks.
All right. So, gentlemen, we are moving to our end zone here. We've got a few more giveaways to figure out here. So, Wendo's, I don't know if you can bring up our wheel of names here. So we've got our first 2 players, so Boom and Blonde Unicorn, who've got the guaranteed RP prizes. Let's just go on the screen right now. We've got 2 more players to figure that out from. I'm just going to try and find our usual randomizer wheel. I believe, let's see. Can anyone remember what we normally use for this one? Because I think there's a few different ones, some of which are more obnoxious than others. There's the wheel of names. I think it's the class.
Yeah, I think
tools.
we used the wheel last time I was there.
Yes, I'm going to send that to Noodles. I think the class tool one seems like it works pretty well. So we're going to bung the names of everyone who played in here, who isn't first or second. And then we'll do our draw. So how we do this, of course, is we want to make sure that our guest casters get to be as silly as possible. So I hope that each of you had the ability to put on some kind of silly voice in order to make sure that when we count into our giveaways here, they are maximally embarrassing for everybody involved.
I'll do the German ferry announcer. You know, like when you're like on the market, you have like all the stands there, and they do like tombolas.
Oh right, I don't know. I don't have that cultural touchstone, but I'm excited.
Oh, it's like a guy standing on the marketplace just shouting, and we have like winnings, welcome everyone. We will see now who is the greatest person here, blessed by God and everyone surrounding him, to win this great prize of how much RP was it again?
It's I believe it's 575. I want to say
575, my friends. So who of you lucky lads will be the person to grab and claim this grand prize and go home a rich man or woman and will change his life forever? We will now find out.
I'm loving it. Can you count us in 3, 2, 1 in that very manner? I'm loving the patter around it as well.
Yes, and we will now go in 3, 2, 1, and now let's see who fortune favors. As we do see that Anonymous won.
It was very close.
And
it was very close.
Was scammed.
So Randoing getting scammed by the AD Soraka, but not getting also getting scammed by the wheel. However, Anonymous won with the great victory here. Congratulations, you truly displayed great luck and faith.
All right. I mean, Zion, that's a
I think it's
hard act to follow. But
I think it's my turn, but I
Yes.
will try something completely random. I will try to change my voice as much as I can.
So now we rolled in the game, and now we have to roll the wheel of fortune. We have to see
Lord.
who will win the 575 RP from the counter casual competition.
Oh my gosh,
As
that's
we now
terrifying.
commence. 3, 2, and 1. Keep rolling,
Who's it gonna
rolling,
be?
rolling. It's Dancing Bagel.
Hey, congratulations. Our random prize number 2 winner. So let's see. That means we've got just one more to go. So this will be based on our players who streamed today. So generally, Noodles, what we tend to do is just grab all the streams which are in the sheet and then just bung them in the list because that seems like the easiest way of doing it. Thank you for the follow. Gods of Olympus had abandoned me. Oh my gosh, there's a whole story there just in somebody's name. All right. So we'll gear ourselves up again. Thank you to all of our players who stream. We literally could not run this competition without you. And while we get ready for here, if anyone's, I'm going to go quickly through and, all right, I guess I'll do the count in for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming and joining us today. This will be our final on-stream giveaway. There's still going to be the tournament clips, which we'll figure out later on because we have to watch them first. But last of all, thank you to all our streamers. In 3, 2, 1, let's roll!
That was absolutely perfect.
Let's take out Anonymous one and try that one again because it shouldn't be taken out of the list anyway. We're trying to double up on the winners. Let's all go together. In 3, 2,
2,
1,
and 1.
Common! Congratulations! Wow. One is our streamer winner. So that will bring us pretty much to the end then. We'll do a quick search and see if we can find a random small scale TFT streamer we can traumatize by dropping in and spamming endlessly. But while I rush through and see if I can find that, for both of you, for Loescher, for Zion, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to post your details into the chat right now. Starting with you, Zion, is there anything that you would like to shout out or make folks on the stream aware of? For yourself or anyone else?
So last time I did shout out the organization that I'm casting for the most, and I will use this opportunity to shout it out again, since we did get a big upgrade and we are now taking over the ESL TRC or the TRC spot for the DACH region. So Loescher here will be playing probably this time around.
Hopefully.
And I will most likely cast it. So I'm really excited about that. Every 4 months, we're going to have a new TRC for the DACH region, and it opens up a lot more doors also for our players to compete in GSC because they get more points and so on. It's going to get bigger, it's going to get better, and better production, better player communication. And I'm really excited for that throughout the next 4 months of the new set. And I hope for everybody who was watching that you enjoy the new set, because this was the last tournament, basically almost one of the last ones that is on the set 9.5. And let's forget 9.5 as fast as possible and let's remix Rumble.
Oh, brutal! Well, I mean, Loescher, can you destroy
There's
us?
nothing good you have to say about it. It's heartless. Really heartless. Really heartless.
All right, well, Loescher, is there anyone that you would like to shout out, including yourself, before we send off our raids? I think I found a good target for it.
No, I would like to thank Counterfeit Casts for inviting. I would like to. Always great fun being here. Counterfeit Casts, and then also all the participants who showed their streams really only make this possible. So yeah, I think it's always great that not only you, but some always great fun being here. Recognize that, and with that, yeah, hope that we'll see each other again in set 10.
I hope so as well.
Also,
We're not
hope
very far.
participant who showed
Well, now my last words have
it's
been made
nice
into
that-
some selfish thing that I said.
You
was
were
my intent,
invited
but
to,
it's not
it's fine. I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll make up for any selfishness because we're going to go check out Lil Magpie, who is from Oos in New Zealand, doing a 24-hour stream. I think so, or he's going to be doing a 24-hour stream. So we have, of course, much love for our friends from Oos, and of course Slappy, who dropped by to say hi before. So we will be
That
back
was my
on
intention,
the 25th for our next competition. Deadly Ghost is already booked in for that. We're going to be trying to get someone else in as well, as we, of course, want to try and showcase as many TFT casters as well. Please do go follow Zion and Loescher. Links are in the chat for their social medias right now. And of course, we're looking forward to them. Again, congratulations to all of our players for extremely well-played competition. Of course, Boom Shakalaka for taking an absolutely, completely dominant showing of the competition itself. Whoops, the raid went through, never mind. That's the end of it. Well,